Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Wednesday edition of Running Point live on YSNLive.com. Anthony Hartwig with you alongside Ty Bartell, even though he's away. Right there he is, popped back in. Ty Bartell, it's a Wednesday edition. We have a lot of fun stuff for you today. And, we have Brian Tolnar at 1 o'clock, and joining us in that segment will be Brandon Pluchinski and Taylor Ross, the winners of the Greatest Golfer Tournament over the weekend. And that's going to be a fun conversation in the 1 to 2 hours. We talk all things golf, and Brian gives his tip of the week, and that'll be fun. We also are going to continue our volleyball previews as we dive into Division 4. And before we start all that, though, I want to remind everybody that the comments are live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, you can comment live, and we will see them and pop them up, and we'd love to hear from our viewers. Also, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline is open. 330-886-0813 is the number to call. And although if you watched the show yesterday, I did miss a call, I promise I will not miss your call if you call. It is my sworn duty. And before we get into all the fun today, we have some breaking news to report, as we already posted it on our social media at YSN. But if you haven't seen yet, the Lutonia versus Sebring football game on Friday has been canceled due to COVID related situations. So no game for Lutonia and Sebring this Friday night. And Ty, something that we were dreading, something that we thought might happen at some point this season, it's starting to rear its ugly head here in week 1.
It is also it's a situation too where everybody's already kind of on pins and needles about going into this season, and this is not doing anybody any confidence hearing this news that this is already happening tomorrow. So, I mean, we obviously hope for the best and everything, but again, it seems like right when we thought we were out and done with it, it's coming back in, and we just hope we can still have a full season, full capacity, and this is more of just a game situation and not more of a entire valley situation.
Yeah, for now, just that one game, and obviously the season starts tomorrow with 4 games on the docket, and then a full Friday night of action on Friday. So we're hoping here on Wednesday that that's the last bad news that we get. But once again, to repeat, the Lutonia versus Sebring football game on Friday night has been canceled due to COVID-related situations. Got some scores to announce before we dive into the show. Hubbard girls golf team gets their first win of the season. They upset Poland 223-237. Noelle Trobeck shot a 44 to lead the Eagles. Natalie Hovarth shot a 56. Carly Brenner shot a 58, and Julia Palumbo shot a 65. Hubbard is 1-1 on the season. Another golf score to get in is Jackson Milton boys bounce back from losing to Middle Ridge earlier in the week as they beat Warren Harding by 2 strokes, 193-195. As we look at their individual scores, right here, Nikolai Scandy shot a 44. Aaron Rami also shot a 44. Ryan Rami shot a 54. Hunter Schertzer shot a 51. Dom Zitello shot a 61. Drew Sloan shot a 59. Dylan Hovner shot a 66. And Faith Sullivan also shot a 66. So Jackson Milton gets another win on the season. They have an impressive start, bounced back from their loss to Middle Ridge, and they beat Warren Harding by 2 strokes, 193 to 195. So those are the golf scores. A lot of golf once again getting rained out yesterday. And if this morning is any indication, there's more rain in the forecast today. Probably not a lot of golf going on in the area as far as high school golfers are concerned.
Yeah, I know, but that Jackson Milton team has been one to talk about all season long, Anthony. You've been constantly reporting on scores from them, and they seem to be upsetting teams left and right. Another close one against Harding this time and beating them by 2 strokes. There's something brewing over there in Jackson Milton. And we talked with Brian Tolnar, I think, a couple of weeks ago, too, and he talked about that difference in playing as a singular golfer and playing as a team golfer, and how much harder it is to play and be successful as a team because you need a lot of good golf talent congregated. So what Jackson Milton is doing right now is impressive. I believe, 4-1 right now, Anthony?
Yes, 4-1. Their first loss earlier this week to Middle Ridge, who is another really good golf team in the area, by the way. So when those two squared off, unfortunately, someone had to lose, and it was Middle Ridge. But Jackson Milton, the Ramey brothers are shooting really well. They both shot a 44 yesterday, and they continue to shine. Nikolai and Aaron Ramey. No, I'm sorry, Aaron and Ryan Ramey. Nikolai is also shot a 44. Ramey brothers did not both shoot 44. Got to correct myself there. Aaron Ramey shot a 44 with Nikolai Scandy. Ryan Ramey, Aaron's brother, shot a 54. So, but the Ramey brothers are contributing pretty well to that program. And then another thing we have to announce, another score. Baseball is not done. Youngstown gets the win last night, 11-0, a dominating win over Washington County, and they move on to the Pony World Series championship game tonight. First time since 1997 that a team from Ohio has played in the championship game. And our boys from Youngstown dragging along the Grit City and representing us all proudly.
I mean, as baseball has been widely popular and represented in northeastern Ohio and especially the Youngstown area this entire summer, it just goes and continues with the Pony World Series now. And I mean, representing well, and I mean, just showcasing the talent that we have. And and you talk with Coach down there too, and he talked about on our interview the other day about how when teams come to play us now, they start to know who Youngstown, Ohio is, and that's cool. That on a national level now, we start getting that recognition, like, oh, there is some baseball talent from this area,
and a lot of local high school talent. As we had Dom Treveri on the show earlier in the week. He laid out that they have some players from Poland, some players from Fitch, some players from other schools in the area on that team. So a lot of eyes are going to be on the stream tonight. That live stream can be found at the Pony World Series Facebook page. They will share where the link to stream the game closer to game time. It is slated for 6 o'clock. I don't know what the weather situation is like in Washington, PA at the moment. Hopefully it's a little bit better than what I'm looking at out that front door right now.
Yeah. I mean, we never know, too. Weather always seems to be the overcast on baseball that may or may not get a game off of its heels.
Everybody needs a dome. Let's just
pretty much. But no, I think you got the next few days pretty much covered for you. Watch the Pony World Series tonight. You got Thursday football tomorrow, and we got big matchups such as Canfield Poland that are still on the docket. You got a bunch of great Friday matchups for football, a couple of Saturday matchups, I believe, too, and then Saturday mornings also volleyball. So we got you covered starting tonight and going through the next few.
And look at some meteorologists chiming in as Brandon McPherson, the jack of all trades, coming in and saying forecast does not look good for Washington, PA.
And that's just
we're hoping against hope that there's this one little circle of brightness around that baseball field wherever it's located.
They've been dealing with a lot of rain over there too. A lot of rain games and rain delays, I believe, too, and games that have been delayed because of the rain. And I don't know what's been going on. We've been having a very rainy summer, it seems like, in the Midwest.
Yeah, of course. And hey, what else is new? We live in the I believe, second cloudiest city in the United States as far as Youngstown, second only to Seattle. So naturally, we're going to get a lot of rain during the hot season of summer. It's just how it goes. There's a reason they built bombs here in World War II, because of the awesome cloud coverage.
And the problem is, too, is we have all these open fields, but now we're starting to finally adapt to the turf fields, and that's the smartest thing I think we've done as communities. And a lot of people I know hate the turf fields, and I understand the arguments against them, because I also feel like there is something special about playing on grass fields. But unless you have coverage to support a grass field, there's been so many rainouts in baseball, in the realm of baseball, over the last few years, and it's just so hard to, especially this season being smack dab in the middle of spring, where we get a lot of rain starting in that March month all the way through May. It's terrible, because there's a lot of rainouts with those grass fields. As much as I love the grass fields, unless you got tarp cover or some sort of coverage for it and someone that maintains it, turf is the way to go, I think.
At the end of the day, you might not like the turf fields. You might say it's not the baseball purist, but teams with turf fields are going to play more games. That's just
it's about getting games in too, and you have to play in the environment that's provided. And Ohio is one of those, like you said, it's going to be rainy, and it's one of those that it's going to have cold months, it's going to have hot months. And I mean, grass fields, as beautiful as they are, like I said, you need to have someone that's maintaining them.
You either have a great drainage system, or you have turf. Those are the only two options.
Pretty much.
I mean,
and you can have grass fields if you have good, like I said, good maintenance on it. Like, perfect example is Bobsleyan Park. They maintain those grass fields beautifully. I mean, yeah, some more games get rained out there. You can't really play, but they have
it's a monsoon. You're not playing in it. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, if they have the tarp cover, and they do a great job of just taking care of maintaining those fields well down there. And I mean, that's an example of just how you can have a grass field. But other than that, I mean, turf fields, a lot less maintenance that you need to do on it. You don't have to worry about cutting the grass, so it's a lot nicer.
And as we look at the Division 4 volleyball, which is what we're doing today, and this is the biggest division of all of our coverage divisions. 14 teams in Division 4 on the YSN family. We're going to get to all of them. We might have to divide it into 2 days, but we're definitely not going to skip anybody. So if you're a fan of a Division 4 volleyball team, don't worry. We're gonna be just fine. We're actually 15. I miscounted on this sheet, but 15 teams. We're gonna get to all of you guys. So if you're missed today, don't worry. We're gonna get to you, and we'll if we have to, we'll continue tomorrow. That's the beautiful thing about this show. It goes 5 days a week. So we got tomorrow if we don't get to everyone today.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the beautiful thing. I mean, we have the next 3 days, too, where we're going to have the show. So, I mean, we'll make sure that we get everyone covered before the end of the week for sure, as we are just through Division 4 is the last one we have to get through. I mean, already 3 divisions under the belt, but this one's a little bit chunkier, so.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's just dive in. We have Brian Tolnar coming on at 1. Let's just go. I mean, let's go in the order that I kind of wrote them out. Let's start with Lisbon and talk about the Lisbon Blue Devils and what they're going to bring to the table this year.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll pull them up real quick. So Lisbon last year, they were 6-15, 4-9 overall in the conference, in a season that I would say made a step in the right direction and are looking to make another big step. Looking at some of the players that they are returning and some of the ones that are lost from last season, I think the biggest names that I'm looking at on here that are lost is Brook Van Gaaisen is one of the big ones, one of the kills leaders for the team last year. She seniored out as well. But in what you are returning to, you're returning a junior now turned senior, and just as Vrabel, who's coming back, she had 120 kills as well on a 22.8% kill percentage. She's coming back for her senior year. I think no doubt going to be one of the leaders for that team. You also have some freshmen that had some significant playing time. Eliza Baker, one of those, 41 kills in her playing time as well as a freshman. She's coming back as a sophomore. That's going to be huge, getting her that experience. And also some other juniors turned seniors. Parker Henthorne is coming back for her senior year, so she's going to be a part of that senior squad. Maya Emmerling, too, is another one that's coming back for her senior year. So you're looking at about 3 or 4 seniors, I think, on this team, and it's a bunch of freshmen that were really on that team. So it was once, or what I'm looking at from last year, 2 seniors, couple of juniors, and a bunch of freshmen. So in this case, you're going to have a few seniors and a bunch of sophomores on this team. And I mean, I think if you're Lisbon, you're pretty happy with that, and I think you're happy and set up for the next few years. I mean, you lose a couple seniors, and you're not going to have really any seniors next year unless you get a transfer. But I mean, think about how you could develop this team now.
Yeah, and I think they're going to lean heavily on the leadership of Emerly and Vrabel, two players that have been there, done that, have plenty of varsity experience in multiple sports. We know Justice Vrabel very well from softball and basketball. So you'll look at the sports and the varsity experience that both those girls have. They're going to lean on that leadership a lot, and they're still a pretty young team overall, just 3 seniors. So they're going to lean on those two, and of course the rest of the senior class to lead some of these young teams. But because they were so young last year too, we talked to a couple of other coaches that had young teams last year that are still overall a young team this year. Being young isn't an excuse anymore. If you're a sophomore and you had a lot of experience as a freshman, you can't say, well, I'm a sophomore now, so I'm going to still make those mistakes. You gotta grow. You gotta be able to not have to use youth as an excuse.
Yeah, and we talk about that big gap and that big jump that a lot of players take from freshman to sophomore year, and that's where you see some of the most improvement in their high school career. I think is from that freshman to sophomore year is where you see some of the most significant improvement, especially if they played some varsity time as a freshman and have played over the course of the summer. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Anthony, that going into this season now you expect all these girls to be improved too. And I mean, with the varsity experience they got as freshmen, and if some of them played some AAU and played over the summer, I mean, you got to expect they come in just because of the reps that they got, and experience always pays off in the end. So you got to expect them to come in and be better.
They play in a tough EOAC. We talked about East Palestine and United yesterday. Going to talk about the rest of the EOAC today. A lot of really talented teams in this conference that Lisbon's going to have to deal with. And they're going to have a tough slate in front of them. Let's talk about their schedule and what they do have teams laying in their way this year.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick, as Lisbon should be opening up the season. I want to say it was the 23rd, but let me double check here as this gets pulled up for me. All right, so Lisbon opens up their season on the 24th, excuse me. It's a home game versus Southern. The 25th is home versus Heartland Christian. 26th away at Wellsville. 30th home versus Malvern. The 31st away versus United. Starting in September, the 2nd they're home versus East Palestine. 7th they are home versus Columbiana. 9th away versus Valley Christian. 16th away versus Southern. 21st home versus Wellsville. 23rd home versus United, 28th away versus East Palestine, 29th away versus Heartland Christian, 30th away versus Columbiana, 4th away versus Malvern, and 13th away versus Jackson Milton.
So when you look at their non-conference schedule, I mean, they have home and aways with Malvern and Heartland Christian, both tough programs, and Heartland Christian is going to be one of the top seeds in Division 4 if they have the same season they had last year. And then you look at the Jackson Milton to end the season. That's a tough opponent, also in Division 4, but in the MVAC Scarlet tier. We already talked to Jackson Milton's coach earlier this year. They have a lot of senior leadership. They are looking to be at the top spot of their conference. So a very tough non-conference schedule to match their tough conference that they play in.
And I think that's exactly what Lisbon needs to do in trying to develop these girls and make that next step too, because you got to remember, you got a couple of seniors. So of course you're going to want to be competitive and try to make a deep run. But at the same time, you have a bunch of sophomores that you need to continue developing, because that's going to be the future couple years of your program too, because you got to remember, you got all these girls coming back as a junior, and then you're going to have them all coming back as a senior. Think about all the dividends it's going to pay off for you in the end if you start developing these girls now and getting them significant playing time.
I think like a lot of teams that we've talked about already, that first game of the season is going to be very telling. Southern is a team kind of in the same position as Lisbon, a young team up and coming, trying to get some experience from last year. Were definitely not terrible last year, had multiple wins under their belt. So how Lisbon looks against a team that's in the same boat going to tell a lot about what they can do against the big teams this fall.
I believe so as well. And I mean, it's just going to be perfect tests for Lisbon throughout the season just to see how they're good, how they're good against these other competitive teams, and how they're good against these other significant teams. So I think that's going to be important for them going into the season.
And of course, the biggest rival on the docket for Lisbon is Lutonia. So obviously, if you're going to a volleyball match, you want to circle Lutonia versus Lisbon, because that's a heated rival in the EOAC that is taken seriously in every sport, not just football, but volleyball players get up for that game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's excitement all around. And I think it'll be a fun game coming into the season for Lisbon.
All right, let's stay in the EOAC and talk a little bit about Columbiana. We already talked to Coach Martin. Let's talk about what they're returning, what they're losing, and what players to watch for the Clippers.
Yeah, bringing up Columbiana. Last year, the Clippers, as I get their whole thing brought up, they were 20-6 last year, 11-3 overall within the conference. Another very successful season for Columbiana. Part of that success coming into this season that is coming back is Tori Long, and I don't think any question about her success with the Columbiana program. 229 kills, 29.8% kill percentage. You're returning that in her senior year, as well as Julia Rapp coming back for her senior year as well. 115 kills, 21.2% kill percentage. You're returning both of them back for their senior year. The biggest loss is Grace Whitmer, 124 kills last year. She seniored out. She's going to be one of the big losses for them, as well as Maddie Withrow too. Is going to be another, I think, significant loss as well. But I think with Columbiana, the thing that's unique about them, they have enough of a supporting cast that I think they're going to be able to be just fine. And I mean, players like Julia Rapp are going to be huge, I think, going into this season.
I think the biggest loss for Columbiana, really, in a team that really thrives on their defense, they lose Macy Linhart, who, in my opinion, was the best libero in the area last year, and she was on the All YSN team as a libero. So losing that back row defense, someone else is going to have to step up and get the bulk of the digs back there.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see who's going to do it, because I think Columbiana still has the pieces to make a decent run too in the tournament. It's just all going to come down to what players are going to step up, because they're going to need some younger players to fill the roles.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that we just don't know until we see Columbiana, who's going to be their libero, and who's going to be put back there to lead the back row defense. But one thing about Columbiana last year, and I'm sure Coach Martin wants to keep it this way, they frustrated a lot of offenses because there were a lot of hard swings on that other side of the net that got put back up in the air by this defense. And you could see teams that were getting in system a lot just frustrated because they couldn't get a ball to drop against this back row. So Columbiana needs to keep that up. Tori Long is a full rotation player. She'll play in the back row. She'll get her share of digs. A lot of double-doubles for her this year, I'm sure. But they're going to have someone lead that defense as a libero, and whoever does, they're going to have to keep that standard of defense for Columbiana in the back row.
I agree, and I think it's going to be huge for Columbiana going into this season. And it's again, who steps up, because someone's going to need to for Columbiana to repeat that success or have even more successful season than they did last year. They're definitely going to need some younger players to fill the shoes of some of the seniors that are no longer there with them. So I think it's going to be huge for Columbiana to see that younger talent step up.
Let's talk about their schedule and what teams lay in their way in 2021.
Yeah, pulling up Columbiana's schedule as they are opening up the season. Oh my goodness. They're opening up the season on the 21st. It is that Saturday morning game. It's a opener versus McDonald. They go right into Tuesday, the 24th, away versus United. The 26th is away versus Lutonia. The 31st is away versus East Palestine. Starting in September, they open it up home versus Southern the 2nd, away versus Lisbon the 7th, home versus Wellsville the 9th, home versus Lordstown the 11th, home versus JFK the 13th, home versus Valley Christian the 14th, home versus United the 16th, away versus Heartland Christian the 18th, home versus Lutonia the 21st, home versus East Palestine the 23rd, away versus Southern the 28th, home versus Lisbon the 30th. Starting in October, they're away versus McDonald the 2nd, away versus Wellsville the 5th, away versus Valley Christian the 7th, home versus Mineral Ridge the 9th, home versus Springfield the 12th, and away versus Jackson Mountain the 14th.
Yeah, when you talk about that schedule, I mean, obviously the EOAC is loaded. Everyone's going to be talking about that matchup with Wellsville back-to-back. I think everyone's going to be circling the matchup with United, and as well as, the matchups with Mineral Ridge. I mean, that's going to be a team that they might see in the tournament further down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be significant games for them, and you're going to have to do well again within the EOAC if you want to come out tops of the conference.
Absolutely. And I think opening the schedule with McDonald is going to be another interesting game. We talk a lot about volleyball teams that are putting on very fun shows week one, game one. And game one against McDonald should be a fun match.
It should be. At McDonald, we know how significant they are in all athletics and on all fronts. And volleyball, no different. They're going to be a pretty successful team as well. So this is going to be a very fun matchup between the Clippers and the Blue Devils, game one on a Saturday morning.
Absolutely. And let's take a quick timeout as we got through two, and we'll be back on the Wednesday edition of Running Point live on ysnlive.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Our teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Welcome back to Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you as me and Ty Bartell tackle this Wednesday afternoon. Let's continue our volleyball previews. Stay in the EOAC with Wellsville. The Tigers have had a firm grip on this conference for a while, firm grip on the area in Division I. They were the 1 seed in the Division 4 bracket last year. Let's talk about them this year.
Yeah, looking at Wellsville as we pull up their schedule for this year. Sorry, because I have a bunch of them right here in front of me. I just got to find where I put there's the Tigers. All right, so yeah, Wellsville, of course, 20-6 last year, 14-0 overall in the conference, and I mean just an absolute force at volleyball last year. Part of what they are coming back this year, Elena Amato is one of the big ones. 247 kills, 34.6% kill percentage. She's coming back for her junior year, so expect another big step for her. It is going to be unfortunate they lost Emma Smith, a part of the 311 kills on 41.9% kill percentage. That's going to definitely be hard to replace.
Stop you there for a second, just to put into words how special those numbers are. I mean, 311 kills and then a kill percentage above 30. I'm guessing her hitting percentage was pretty high for an individual too, probably in the 200s. Very impressive senior that Wellsville is going to have to find a way to kind of replace that production a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, hitting percentage was 281.
Oh my God, so good.
So I mean, a very very talented player in Emma Smith that's going to be lost. So yeah, you're going to need to replace it. But like I said, there's some young players on this team still, like Amato, that are going to be huge, I think, going into the season. Another player too, Megan Nixon, is no longer there. That's going to be another significant loss, part of the 143 kills that she also contributed to the team last year. But another one they're bringing back too, Aubrey Ramsey, 126 kills herself last season as a sophomore. So a couple of sophomores in Amato and Ramsey that I think are going to be a bright future for this Wellsville team. And I think that's going to be part of why Wellsville is going to be successful again this season.
And we just mentioned 4 players, and all of them had over 100 kills. two of them had, over 200. And of course, Emma Smith had over 300. A lot of offensive production, but a lot of balance in this offense. It's not like a couple of teams where it's one girl getting 450 kills and the rest getting, 95, 80, something like that. Like, there is balanced production in the offense at Wellsville. One of the reasons why they have been so successful throughout the years, and they're probably going to be just as successful this year.
Yeah, and I mean, looking to some other players, I mean, you lose Greta Cartwright, too, who was part of the 396 assists last season as one of your setters, but you're bringing back Emily McNicol, part of the 463 assists that she had last season. I think that's going to be huge, getting one of those setters back.
They might just move McNicol to a 5-1 offense and make her the 4 rotation setter, which means she'll have some net defense on her shoulders on her responsibility. She won't just be a back row setter anymore in a 6-2. But I mean, when you have over 400 assists and you're returning as a setter and you have an offense that is still very balanced, you need someone that you can trust to get to your hitters. And when you're replacing 311 kills for production, you definitely want to trust your setter. So I think maybe a smart move for Wellsville to move McNicol to a 5-1 rotation. We'll see. New coach in Wellsville, Dan McKinstry, has moved on to East Liverpool. So we're gonna have to see what Wellsville's new coach decides to do with McNicol. But I would be shocked if they weren't running a 5-1 this year.
And we know how good the McNicol family is, as Jenna, too, also through the program, seniored out last year as well. Can't go without mentioning her, as she was a huge part of that team as well. So, I mean, Emily going to have to continue the McNicol legacy, and we suspect another successful season for her.
Double McNichols for a dive.
There you go. But yeah, I think Wellsville is going to be just fine, and I think those matchups with teams like Columbiana are going to be very fun to watch.
Let's talk about their schedule. Some of the teams that are in their way for a successful season in 2021.
Yeah, looking at the schedule for the Tigers in 2021, as we pull them up, they are opening up their season on the on the 23rd against Edison. It's a Monday game. It's an away game at Edison. They're staying away the 25th at East Palestine. 26th, they are home versus Lisbon. The 31st, away versus Valley Christian. The 2nd, away versus Lutonia. The 7th, home versus Southern. The 9th, away versus Columbiana. The 13th, home versus Toronto. The 14th, away versus United. 16th, home versus East Palestine. 20th, home versus Catholic Central of Steubenville. 21st, away versus Lisbon. The 23rd, home versus Valley Christian. 27th, home versus Heartland Christian. The 28th, away versus Lutonia. 30th, away versus Southern. Starting in October, the 4th, they're home versus Beaver Local. 5th, home versus Columbiana. 7th, home versus United. The 12th is going to be a conference tournament, so their opponent is to be announced. But the 14th, they're going to be away versus Western Reserve. And the 16th, again, is going to be, they say, a conference tournament, and the opponent is to be announced. So
I'll tell you, 2 teams, non-conference, that really jumped out at me while you were reading them off. First one was Western Reserve to close out the season before that conference tournament. It's a big non-conference, big Division 4 matchup in Western Reserve. The other one, it just went right out of my head. It was towards the end of the season before the first conference tournament. Oh, geez.
United?
No. That's in the EOAC.
Beaver Local is what I was going to say. Beaver Local.
Like Beaver Local versus Wellsville. Those are 2 teams with 20-plus wins last year squaring up, and 2 teams that are returning a lot. That's going to be a really fun match. Is that in Beaver Local or is that in Wellsville?
That's in Wellsville. That's going to be on the 4th of October.
You got to
circle
that. Game. Tiger Country, you got to circle that. Make sure you get out to your volleyball team and support them versus Beaver Local. That'll be a big matchup against a team up in Division 2 for Beaver Local. So the biggest team on Wellsville, scheduled division-wise, and they won't disappoint in that matchup.
And a couple of Buckeye teams, too, because they're opening up the season with Edison, too. So go and play in that conference a little bit in both Edison and Beaver Local on the schedule this year.
It'll be very interesting to see how they compete in the OAC, and if Wellsville can continue to have a a firm grip on that EOAC, 14-0 last year. Someone's trying to end the streak this year. A lot of teams got better, and it's going to be an interesting volleyball season in the EOAC.
I think so as well, but I think Wellsville has the pieces to continue the dominance, but there's going to be a lot of fun games on the
You know what
docket.
they say, you're at the top until someone beats you, and until someone proves that they can beat Wellsville, they're the top dog. They're the top tiger. They're the top cat, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
They're the king of the hill until someone proves they can beat Wellsville.
Yep, and it's going to be a very tough schedule too, EOAC-wise and out of conference, so Wellsville is going to be well-tested come tournament time.
Also, by the way, very interested in that Heartland Christian matchup too. Wellsville, Heartland Christian, always a fun volleyball match. Seem to square it up every season. You know, two big Division IV programs. It's going to be fun to see those two go head to head. Let's stay in the EOAC and continue with Lutonia and talk about what the Bears are bringing back and what are some people to watch for the Lutonia volleyball squad.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm just writing this one thing now. Okay. For Lutonia now, as we pull up the Bears, last year, Lutonia was 4-16. They're one of those teams that are looking to make that jump too. One of the biggest problems was an 0-11 conference record, and I think that's one of the areas where Lutonia wants to do better. They need to get some wins within the conference, and I think that they are looking to be more competitive in the conference this season. Some of the seniors that they lost, Emily Ackerman from last season is going to be a significant loss. Taryn Ferry too is another one that is gone from there. Also, Mia Dolan is another. Samantha Schneider, another one that's seniored out, as well as Megan Roscoe and Haley Brock. Some of the players that you are bringing back, significance, Ali Frankowski, I think, is one of the significant players they're bringing back. She's coming back for her senior year. Caitlin Callahan is another one. She'll be coming back for her junior year. Kendra Cole will be coming back for her junior year as well. Megan Graff coming back for her senior year. So you're going to have a few juniors and seniors that are going to be leading this. It's going to be interesting to see some of the players they're going to be bringing up from JV, some of those freshmen that are going to be in their sophomore years, because there's a lot of seniors on this team, and they're going to be filling those seniors with, obviously, we presume, sophomores and freshmen, as a lot of these players are going to be returning as juniors and seniors this year. So you're going to have to make up some of the younger portion of the team, and I suspect we're going to see some players coming out of that JV squad. So we're going to be seeing some new names on this Lutonia team, and I think that's going to be very fun going into the season.
And they want to improve in the EOAC. Like you said, they didn't get a win in the EOAC last year, but it's a tough conference. It's going to be a big mountain to climb. But hopefully for Lutonia, this new summer, once again, a full summer that they get this year, they didn't get last year. The full summer, the camps, and everything that they've done this summer, hopefully for them, that's going to help them bring these new kids along, these new faces, and show some serious signs of improvement.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I think that you'll see a significant improvement in Lutonia too. And they're just trying to build their program, lay the foundation down. I mean, still significant to be able to rattle off 4 wins last season. So not a bad team. Still was able to stay competitive in a lot of sets too. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see Lutonia make that next step, get a few more wins under their belt, and just continue to build this program.
Look, when you're a very young team and you're cut your summer, this puts teams in very tough situations. And Lutonia was very young last year. They're going to be young again this year, but at least this year, they've had a full summer to get camps underway, get team chemistry set, and get a full slate of scrimmages in before their season, so they could be a little bit more comfortable heading into the first couple of weeks of their regular season. Maybe get some confidence here and there, win a couple of games in the first couple of weeks, and then really show some signs of improvement. Like a lot of teams we've talked about, I think Lutonia is going to be judging this season based on player development, not necessarily final results of wins and losses. You always want to win games. I'm not trying to make it sound like Lutonia would be happy if they don't win, but I think when you evaluate this season and when the coaching staff looks at the season as a whole, when it's over, more than the wins and losses, they're going to look at what the player looks like, what players look like from day one to the end of the season and how much they've developed. I think that's going to be a lot more important to Lutonia's program this year than just wins and losses.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're right too, and I think the development of these players are going to be huge, and I expect a lot of these players to make that next step, and I'm excited to see some of these younger players, these sophomores and freshmen that are going to be infused in this Lutonia program, and to see what kind of production they can do. Because I mean, a lot of those players, they could surprise you sometimes too, and I'm excited to see if there's some diamonds in the rough, or there's some really talented girls already that are already at a junior, senior level as a freshman.
Would be remiss to not bring up Taryn Ferry and how big of a loss that is as a senior last year. One of the great athletes in Lutonia girls sports last year and for the last 4 years. What a family, by the way. The twin brother Marco doing his thing on the football field and the basketball court. But Taryn's going to be a big loss, and they're going to have to replace her leadership, her athleticism. And Lutonia, like I said, a very young team. They're going to have plenty of people try to step into their shoes.
I mean, they're going to have a tough game, too. They're opening up the season on that Saturday morning against Heartland Christian, too.
Perfect segue. Let's talk about their schedule and how it breaks down the rest of the teams that are going to be in their way.
As after that Heartland Christian game this upcoming Saturday, they play Valley Christian Tuesday the 24th. That's away at Valley Christian, as the first game Saturday is away at Heartland Christian. The 26th, they're home versus Columbiana. The 30th away versus Sebring, starting in September, or excuse me, the 31st, they're also away versus Southern. So a 30th away versus Sebring and a 30th away versus Southern in August. And then starting in September, the 2nd, they're home versus Wellsville. The 4th, they're home versus Heartland Christian. 7th away versus United. 9th home versus East Palestine. The 15th home versus Sebring. 16th home versus Valley Christian. 21st away versus Columbiana. 23rd home versus Southern. 25th away versus Youngstown East, 28th home versus Wellsville, 30th home versus United. Starting in October, the 5th, they're away versus East Palestine, and the 11th, they're home versus Grand Valley.
And, opening the season with Heartland Christian, that's going to make the coaches learn a lot about their team right off the bat. When you go up against a established Division IV powerhouse that we've talked about in Heartland Christian, you're gonna know exactly what your team's made of when they're gonna have to go through adversity in the first match of the season.
On a Saturday morning too, gonna have the team ready too. So it's gonna be early in the morning. So it's not gonna be something you're thinking about all day. You're probably gonna be waking up and getting ready for the game. So it's not gonna be one of those 5, 6, 7 o'clock games. You're up and ready to go at 11.
A handful of teams open the season Saturday morning. It's going to be really interesting to see how teams handle that. The first game of the season, you got to get up early and get focused and wash out those first game jitters really quick. We know that a handful of teams open the season Saturday morning. I'll be in Crestview for Crestview Lakeview. There are a handful of others, some try matches on Saturday as well. It's going to be really interesting to see which teams handle that well, which teams don't.
I think it'll be exciting too, because I mean, if everything goes off without a hitch, like football, we're expecting, and you're expecting these crowds to be pretty heavy for the volleyball too, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're going off the coattails of the Friday night football, going Saturday morning for volleyball, and there's a lot of usual brother and sister tandems that play the football and volleyball, or sometimes there's cousins. So you go see the boys at night, and you go and see the girls in the morning. So I mean, it really works out too for the best of both.
Get your coffee ready. It's going to be a long Friday night, Saturday morning on ysnlive.com. We'll have you covered with both Saturday morning and Friday night. Let's talk about one more team before we take a break before Brian Tolnar's segment. Let's stay in the EOAC and talk about Valley Christian, what they're bringing back, what they are replacing, and some of the things to look forward to for the Eagles.
Yeah, let me bring them up real quick.
You got it. As we remind people that the comments are live, by the way, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Comment, and we would love to hear from you. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline also open, 330-886-0813.
Yeah, and looking at Valley Christian too, they were a team that last season, they were 2-16, another one of those teams 0-10 within the conference. So they're trying to just get one of those wins, I think, within the conference and just be competitive again within the conference. And the thing too with Valley Christian, with their roster as we look at it this year. Trying to pull this up because I'm trying to get the complete roster from them right now, and I don't even know if I have the entire roster from Valley Christian. 1 second, because I thought I had it in here. Because I had a write-up on it. 1 second. As I pull this up, why don't we go to another team real quick while I pull up Valley Christian's thing, or try to find Valley Christian's thing here.
All right, then let's just go into the couple MVAC teams that live inside Division 4. Let's start with Brookfield, the Warriors.
Looking at Brookfield as we pulled them up, they were 8-11 last year, so they were one of those teams that I think right around the middle of the pack, but I think they are primed to make a significant step and get that record into the winning percentages again this year, because they had only two seniors, 2 or 3 seniors actually that seniored out. Nicole Husnick is one of those that seniored out, as well as Maddie Evans and Victoria Slade is another one. But what you're bringing back to some significant juniors too, and Anna Reichart, I think 203.
Yep.
203 kills, 32.8% kill percentage. Huge. She's coming back for her senior year. Bailey Hackett, too, is another one. 102 kills on a 28% kill percentage last year, too. So she's coming back for her senior year as well. You're also bringing back Lauren Shingledecker, too, coming back for her junior year. She's going to be, I think, a big part of that offense as well. You're also looking at, too, what you're bringing back in your big setter too, and Bailey O'Brien, 429 assists last season. You're bringing her back for her senior year. I think this was a team too. 8-11. They were competitive last year. They're getting a lot older, and they're more experienced now than what they lost in seniors, and I think that's going to be significant this season.
Got to be excited for Brookfield. You return a lot of your offensive production. You return your setter. That is a formula for success and for improvement.
I absolutely think so too, and I mean most of them seniors too, coming into their senior years. You're returning your kills leader, you're returning your assist leader, you're returning, I think, the kills leader, your second kills leader too. Right. So I think you're returning your blocks leader from last season too. So I mean, you're returning all the significant pieces from last season, and I think that's huge, because if these pieces take another step in their personal improvement, watch out for Brookfield, because this is going to be a pretty darn good team this year.
I think so too. Let's talk about Brookfield's schedule in front of them and what those senior leaders are going to have to look forward to as far as the teams that are in their way.
They're away versus Ursuline to start the season on the 23rd, before going away versus Liberty the 26th. Home versus Crestview the 31st. Starting in September, they're home versus LeBray the 2nd. Away versus Champion the 7th, home versus Newton Falls the 9th, the 11th home versus Pie Valley, the 11th are also home versus Conneaut, that's part of that tournament, I believe, the 13th home versus St. John, Ashtabula St. John, 20th home versus Valley Christian, 21st home versus Liberty, 23rd away versus Crestview, the 25th home versus Memorial, 28th away versus LeBray, 30th home versus Champion, and 5th away versus Newton Falls.
You know, when I'm listening to that schedule, and every conference game is going to be important for Brookfield this year, trying to take the next step in the MVAC. But the one team that seems to be in the same spot as Brookfield, and we'll have to see which one kind of separates themselves from the other. I'm interested in Brookfield versus LeBray in volleyball, and which one takes that next step, which one gets into the upper tier of the MVAC, maybe put some pressure on Crestview. And when they play each other, that's going to be big to decide which team that's going to be.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, you got to be competitive within the conference as well. And I think that's going to be huge for Brookfield, is you're going to need to get some more interconference wins to win that conference. And I think that's going to be a big challenge for Brookfield this year. But I think that's one of the goals, first and foremost, is win your conference, get yourself a good seed, get yourself a good position in the tournament to make a decent run. And I think Brookfield has the pieces and are primed to do so. Let's see how much of a step these pieces make, and who steps up as the leader there.
And obviously, if you're a Brookfield fan and you want to pick a home game to go to, you got to circle that Crestview home game because that's the team that everyone's going to be chasing. You have to beat Crestview, like Wellsville in the EOAC. But until someone beats them, they're going to be the king of the hill. So remind everyone when that home game against Crestview is.
Yeah, bringing up that home game for them, they have away versus Crestview the 23rd. Home is the 31st of August. So they're a home game versus Crestview the 31st of August, and they're away versus them the 23rd of September.
So everyone circle that 31st of August. It's coming up pretty soon for Brookfield. That's going to be a big matchup for them inside the MVAC, and they're going to have to compete with Crestview if they want a chance at that MVAC championship. We will take a timeout here. On the other end, we will dive into our golf segment with Brian Tolnar, Brandon Pluchinski, and Taylor Ross. It'll be a fun Wednesday afternoon golf segment, as we always have here with Brian Tolnar on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res Futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
"60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We have 3 special guests joining us on Running Point today. Brandon Pluchinski, Taylor Ross, and as always on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Brian Tolnar. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's been a wonderful roller coaster of a ride of a week for you guys, right, Brandon and Taylor?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And Brian, thanks for joining us like you do every week. How exciting is it to get some great golfers in the area on your segment?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's pretty cool. We had not some ideal situation from weather perspective this past weekend, but we were able to persevere through all of that and be able to get some fantastic golf in. And the 2 folks that we have on here today are near and dear to me, especially at Mill Creek, and with Brandon and Taylor and what they've been able to do from a competitive spirit and to hoist the trophies at the end of the week is certainly spectacular. Making it through our round here on Friday, which didn't look like it was going to happen, and finally was able to get that in, and then Saturday dealing with some of the obstacles that Mother Nature threw at us as well. But hats off to both Brandon and Taylor for what they've done and how they played over the course of the weekend, because it was certainly unideal condition-wise, very soft conditions, which helped them lead to some very good scoring. But certainly excited to see both of them in the winner's circle at the end of the week.
Brandon, let's start with you. I mean, 3rd win in a row. You've been dominating this tournament for a while. Go through your mindset over the weekend. And like Brian said, there were some uncertain times. And what was your mindset through the weekend, and what got you through it?
I was just praying that we were going to play, because I was at Mill Creek for Thursday night, and the parking lot was literally a lake. So I was really hopeful that we were going to play. And luckily we ran into Todd walking out, and when I got the email in the morning that we were playing, I was pretty excited, because he walked out of the meeting with Brian saying, "I'm just really hoping that we can get this in, but it's not looking great." And then when we got the email, all the players that I talked to and everyone in each division was really excited to get out there and go play, even though the conditions weren't what we would hope for. Brian obviously did a great job at Mill Creek, because I've never seen that place drain like that, and the way the course set up was it was very good for what we had, what Mother Nature threw at us.
Taylor, what about you? What was your mindset this weekend? What did it mean to win it, and how did you kind of get through some of the adversity that Brian and Brandon were talking about?
I mean, like with the weather, I mean, we just got lucky. I mean, luckily it decided to stop for those last few days, and we were able to persevere and actually get through the tournament. But this is my first ever career win, so it was really nice to play at these wonderful courses that everyone just takes really nice care of. And I actually work at Mill Creek Golf Course, so it was really nice being able to play at my home course and represent a wonderful course throughout the week.
First ever career win, and you do it in this wonderful tournament. I mean, and with a record number of registrations for the tournament, by the way. What I mean, put into words what that kind of meant to you.
Honestly, it meant a lot, just because I've been working so hard this summer to get back to school and just kind of work on my game, work on my mental control over what I can do, and actually being able to show that what I'm working on is working was just really nice to see.
Brandon, you've been dominating in golf for a while, whether it be high school at YSU or now in this greatest golfer competition. What kind of gives you this drive for the sport and obviously the work ethic that it takes to get you to this level and continue to do it for how long that you've been doing it?
Well, it's the best sport of all. I would just say I would say the love for the game. It's what I've grown up playing since I was literally 4 years old, and playing all these local area courses. And it's awesome now that I'm a little older to see all these guys like the YSU guys that are out there every single day practicing, to see kind of in the same footsteps that I was in, and push them a little bit to get a little bit better. But yeah, it's just love for the sport is what keeps me going. It's a blast.
Brian, you know both these golfers pretty well. Kind of put into words what makes them special and what it's been like to watch them kind of grow as golfers since you've known them.
Well, it makes them special because they play here at Mill Creek, number one. But beyond that, it's the amount of time and effort both of them put into their games. So, I've watched Taylor grind all summer long, hitting balls, playing, just continuing to practice. Brandon, no different. I've got to see him over the past 7 years since I've been at Mill Creek, and the time and effort that he puts into competitive golf is spectacular. Now with a newborn and having a young family at home, that takes a little bit of time and practice time away from you. So, to be at that level and to be a good dad and a good husband and all the time that it takes to, play this game, it no different than Taylor all summer long. They put a lot of time, a lot of effort in, and it's great to see their competitive spirit along the way, and them reaping the benefits of all the hard work that they put in to pull off the championship at the end of the weekend this past weekend.
Yeah, you talk about all the hard work and the practice time, and of course, congratulations to both Brandon and Taylor for winning their respective championships. Talking about that practice though a little bit, what is one area for the both of you? Question for the both of you: what is one area of your game that you cannot seem to get enough practice in?
You want me to start this off, Taylor?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going with putting because you got to hit your putter on every single hole. And that's always something that I said in my game that I was extremely good at. And you can never be good enough at putting. There's always another putt that you leave out there that you always miss. So that's one thing that I really push to practice in is on the greens for sure.
I completely agree. This week, my putting was not the greatest, but that's definitely something that I try and work on the most because, you think, oh, putting, it has to be pretty easy, right? And then it doesn't end up always working out that way. So definitely putting.
Taylor, talk about working at Mill Creek and what it's like to be a part of that Mill Creek family, not just when you're golfing, but also you get to call yourself an employee there too.
Oh, yeah. I love working there. This is my second. I just finished my second year there, and I'll definitely be back next year if they let me back. And it's just a nice little family. Like, I've gotten so close with all the employees. Like, I can text any of them, be like, "Hey, do you want to go play around the golf? Hey, I'm struggling with my game a little bit. Can you look at my swing?" Just having the mindset of a family and a working environment has been a really nice blessing this week. Well, this summer and the summer before.
I'll ask this to both of you too. Because we've been talking to Brian so long, and we've seen firsthand how fast Brian can help a golfer with his swing. He did it with our very own Quinn Pushkar in a matter of 15, 20 minutes. Put him on the ground, by the way. What are some of the biggest things that Brian himself has helped you guys with in your career? We'll start with Brandon again.
I'm going to say with putting Mill Creek back on the map where it should be, because I grew up playing Mill Creek. Mill Creek is in my blood, and it is awesome to see what Brian has brought to Mill Creek, just not even just the AJGA, but all these big tournaments that come to Mill Creek. And it's awesome to have in the Valley, a course that people go to, that even a public course that people go to that want to go play. The condition of Mill Creek this year has literally the best I've ever seen it since playing there, and it's only going to get better and better. So that's the one thing that I would say that Brian's done.
I have to 100% agree. I have also grown up playing Mill Creek. That was my home course in high school. And I have never seen it in this kind of shape. Especially when working there, I can see all the work that they put in every morning and the afternoons. I can see all the play, just the amount of tournaments. I never realized it was there until these past 2 years. They have put so much hard work and dedication into that course between Brian, Stacy, Lance, everyone in the maintenance and indoors. It's just amazing out there right now.
Talking about some of the courses too, we talked about the area courses. What are some courses that you yourselves personally would love to play at?
Love to play at. I kind of play a lot of them, so I'm not going to say that there's one that I don't really get out and play. I play Mill Creek every single week, twice a week usually. obviously I play the Lake Club a lot. The Lake Club is what I played honestly my whole life too. I don't know if I could say there's one that I would like to go play because I do play a lot of them a lot.
Probably I've played Avalon twice, and I love that course. I think it's beautiful. And I think like a lot of their like branch courses too. Like I got to play like once or twice, so definitely Avalon.
Brian, I'll bring you in the conversation too. I mean, what's one course that you haven't gotten to play that you would it's on your kind of bucket list or it's on your dream courses that you would love to get out and play?
In our area?
In our area or in the whole country. It doesn't it's your segment.
Oddly enough, I have not played the Lake Club, believe it or not. I've been invited
Let's
there
go, Brian.
by many people and just haven't had the opportunity in my schedule to be able to go there. I've been there for many social functions, just haven't had a chance to play the golf course. So I certainly would like to play there because it's one of the few that I haven't played in the area. Bucket list, probably Pine Valley, Augusta National are probably my two top. Pine Valley, without a doubt. It's been number one in the United States for a number of years, and it's always in that one or two, trading off with Augusta. Cypress Point, it would be another one out in California, Monterey Bay. But locally, I mean, I love great golf courses with great architects, a little bit biased to Mill Creek, a little bit biased to Avalon Lake, spent time there as a head professional for about 5 years. Having the ability to be around Pete Dye, his wife Alice Dye, during the redesign process of Avalon Lakes, and some of his mastery with the Pete Dye Club in West Virginia are probably some of my favorite places to play, but are places that have worked at. So I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of rounds on a lot of those golf courses. Oak Hill in Rochester, when I was up there, was literally 5 minutes down the road, and Jason Ballard's a close friend, as was Craig Harmon, who was the head professional there before Jason Ballard got there. Got to spend a little bit of time with Craig as well. He's very inviting and always allowed the pros within that 30-mile radius come over anytime that they wanted to. So had the opportunity to play some great ones over the courses of my career as a PGA professional.
You guys were both very successful high school golfers, and high school golf just started. It's been up for about a couple of weeks. Talk about some of the reflect on your career first, but then talk about some of the obstacles that you think some of these high school golfers are facing, and how needed it is to see the growth of golf in the area at the high school level.
You guys got to start with Taylor. You guys are putting me on the spot here.
Hey, I can do it.
No, it's okay. I mean, high school golf's getting pretty big. It's good to see all these kids going out and playing in tournaments. I would say the most challenging thing when I was in high school, it's probably the same now, was the weather. I got lucky enough to go state my junior and senior year. I didn't get lucky enough to play Scarlet because Anthony knows, we were Division II for my junior year, and then we switched to Division III my senior year. So the Scarlet course alternates each year, and we got stuck, and I got to play. Not that North Star is not a good course, but obviously you want to go play Scarlet. But I would say the weather, because I remember going down my first year, I had cart mitts on, I had 3 layers of clothes on. It was literally snowing on our last hole, and it's not like normal golf, and it's kind of same with college golf. The weather is what's really stopping you out there. So that's what I would say the biggest thing is, and the biggest challenge I'd say for high school or any level golfer is the weather.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. I definitely think it's been super nice seeing the growth of women's golf specifically, because in my first 2 years I went to South Range and they don't have a women's team, so I did play on the men's team, and I ended up transferring to Columbiana because I was really wanting that female atmosphere within my team. And so transferring then was just a really nice transition into seeing the growth of women's golf starting. Because I look out at Mill Creek and I see all the girls from Poland. I'll see some of the Campfield girls, Boardman girls. I'll see even girls that are playing still at South Range. I'll see them out there, and I think that's such a nice thing to see, especially as still a young female collegiate golfer. And I 100% agree with weather for the hard things. I mean, I got kind of lucky when it came to weather. It was cold, yeah, for districts and sectionals, but it was never snowing, at least for mine. I did not make it to states, but weather was always a big one, especially now in college. I have never played in an absolute torrential downpour until I got to college, and it was definitely a big transition. So it got me used to playing in the elements.
Brandon, I apologize for putting you on the spot. You got the 3-point record. I thought you'd be good in clutch situations. So I figure.
Come on, I got it. I got a good answer out there.
You got it.
I got a good answer out there.
So every week we have a tip of the week segment for Brian Toldar. I want to get you guys in this for all the young golfers that might be watching or might watch this segment later. What are some tips of the week for you guys that you would give to young golfers? And for you, Brandon, we'll start with Taylor this time.
Thank you.
My biggest tip would honestly just get out and do something. Like, I know, like, whenever I was younger, going to the range felt, like, scary because I was like, oh, like, what if someone makes fun of me? Like, what if I hit a bad shot and they judge me? Like, but just going out there and actually practicing. Just get out there, do something, and it'll come full circle. You'll be able to see it in your game as you continue practicing.
I got a good one for this one. It's something my whole family tells me is go have fun. Three-fourths of the golf game is mental. So if you're not having fun and not enjoying it, that you're setting yourself up for failure. So I'd say go enjoy yourself and don't act like it's a chore. It's a sport and it's meant to be for fun. So go out and enjoy yourself and smile a little bit.
All right, you guys, we have the PGA segment of Brian's segment, but you are more than welcome to stay and talk about golf. But if you have other stuff to get to, we also understand that too. But it is time to talk about the PGA weekend, and Brian, talk a little bit about what the golfers are facing this week, and maybe wrap up Taylor and Brandon's segment first by just congratulating them on what they've done this weekend.
Well, I think both of them have had a wonderful weekend, and it's a great way to cap off the summer. And I think, just the hard work and dedication that they put, golf is a sport that certainly takes a lot of time, a lot of preparation, a lot of scheduling, a lot of effort. And the time that both of them have put towards the game of golf and the sport of competitive golf, I think is, something that should be, highly pronounced, because there's no doubt that, their hard work has paid off. I mean, Taylor getting her first win at a major level tournament, locally here in the area, it's spectacular. Brandon winning 5 of these, 3 in a row, it's spectacular as well. And I think if you're a young kid and if you're looking at playing competitive golf or playing high school golf or playing collegiate golf, I think these are two people that you should definitely look at. The way that they've done it, the practice time and the effort and everything that they put towards the game of golf, because it's a game that, number one, it'll beat you up, and number two, takes a lot of time. So you're away from your friends, you're away from your family, if you do put the correct amount of time and effort in there. So hats off to both.
Yeah, final words, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I will happily stick around if you guys want me to. I'm here for
Absolutely.
the long haul.
Let's do it. Taylor, what about you? You staying?
I do have to go. I do have
All right.
some plans. I'm sorry, but thank you
No
so
problem.
much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much again.
You are very welcome, Taylor. It was great having you. Congratulations on your first career win, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
So it's down to 4. Brian, big weekend for the PGA. Talk about the course coming up and what these golfers are going to have to deal with.
I'll tell you what, we've got 3 weeks left on the PGA Tour. This is the start of our FedEx Cup playoffs. You've got the best 125 players left in the world to make a cut down to 70 after the Northern Trust this week. 70 will head to the BMW Championship next week, and then everything will wrap up with the Tour Championship 2 weeks from now. So if you're a huge fan of golf, this is probably your biggest stretch of competitive golf to win a lot of money for these guys on the PGA Tour. So capping it off with the Northern Trust, we hit a golf club, Liberty National, with some of the best vistas on the PGA Tour. You think of the Statue of Liberty, you think of the New York skyline, you think of Ellis Island, you think of the Hudson River. I think all of these things, are really synonymous about the United States, and to be able to see the PGA Tour start their playoff run here with what's going on in the world right now is spectacular with the game of golf. Probably the widest fairways that the tour players will see on the PGA Tour. heading into Liberty National. Very generous greens, very reachable par fives. Just about everybody in the field this week is going to have a go at all 4 of them because they are reachable. Plenty of good finishing holes. 15, 16, 17, and 18 at Liberty National are probably one of the best stretches of finishing holes when it comes down to the playoffs. You've got 15, a 325-yard par 4, very reachable. It could be drivable by anybody in the field this week if you need to make an eagle or a boost in the arm birdie coming down the stretch on the last 4. This is your shot to do that. 16 and 17, 440 yards. 18's 490 yards. You have a better chance of losing the tournament on a lengthy par 4 than you do making a birdie coming down the stretch and winning this week. So it's going to be a difference maker type of hole when you hit that 490-yard par 4, 18th at Liberty National. I don't think you'll see a score that Dustin Johnson shot last year at the Northern Trust. However, it wasn't held at Liberty National. He shot 30 under, broke all the scoring records when it comes to the FedEx Cup. I think you're probably going to look at somebody in that 13, 14, 15, 16 under stretch. Very lengthy golf course, top to bottom, at 7,400 yards. It is a par 72 this week. Weather conditions will be just like they were here with the greatest golfer last week. Will cause them havoc on Thursday and Friday. There is rain. Basically everything that we've got in the past couple of days, and we'll get through tomorrow. You'll see up there on Thursday and Friday. The weekend, however, looks pretty good at 80 degrees and sunny. So one of the fun golf courses that you'll see on the PGA Tour. We had the President's Cup there in 2017 where we were victorious. Just a fun golf course to watch playoff golf. Scoring record there, 62, held by Kevin Chappell and Troy Merritt. So you can definitely go low on the golf course. I don't think you'll see a healthy dose of going low, for 3 or 4 straight days. But the person who gives himself the most opportunities to hit the largest number of greens in 72 holes is probably going to be your winner at the end of the week because, like I said, the fairways are very generous, and it's going to really favor a good iron player this week.
Generous holes down the stretch have to equal a possible really exciting finish with a bunch of golfers being able to either make up some distance or shore up their lead.
Absolutely. You've got a couple different forums in the fray this week. You've got that top 5 in the FedEx Cup that are trying to hold their position because historically the top 5 in the FedEx Cup has an advantage on winning the whole thing at the end of the 3-week stretch of these playoffs. And then you've got the fashion from 70, 71 to 125 trying to make it into the next cutting level, which is that 70-person field when they head to the BMW. So, you've got a lot of guys fighting to stay in it. You've got a lot of guys fighting to keep their place in the FedEx Cup. And then you've got a lot of guys that just want to get a win or two if they can pull the rabbit out of the hat to put themselves in a very good position as we head into the reset at the Tour Championship, which is a little bit different. And something that the PGA Tour's done since, I want to say, 2019. So it'll be the second or third year of the resetting of the scores. So they will shuffle the field similar to what they did at the greatest golf for the past 2 years, and it puts a lot of people back in it. But again, if you're in that top 5 spot and you're in the top 10, you're trying to get into that top 5 spot because you really control your own destiny.
Well, we know Brandon is no stranger to exciting finishes, right, B?
Of course.
It's got to be down the stretch. Brian, who are your Power 5 this week and a couple of sleepers to look forward to?
Well, we'll start off with the sleepers. I think you can ride the momentum of Kevin Kisner and what he did this past week at the Wyndham. I think he's certainly a guy that could continue a stretch of 2 or 3 weeks of solid play on the PGA Tour. Webb Simpson's another guy that we've talked about. Really had a hot spring and won a few times early on the beginning of the year. Sort of tapered off towards the summer and has really kick-started the last 2 or 3 weeks. One of those guys that's won the FedEx Cup before, but is just needs to make up some ground and put himself in good position. So he's my sleeper number 2. Coming in at number 5, a guy that's not on too many people's radar, Daniel Berger. Just an under-the-radar guy. He's steady from tee to green, and I think at Liberty National you need a guy that's gonna play well from tee to green. The guy that hits the most greens this week will have the most birdie opportunities, and I think if he gives himself a number of opportunities, he can knock down some of those putts to be in part of the conversation come weekends. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a Corey Connors or a lesser-known guy pick up a win here either this week or next week. Just in how the year's kind of gone, there's no Dustin Johnson effect that we've had in the past couple of years that just won 5 or 6 times and then just really took a tear come FedEx Cup playoff time. Everybody's kind of been up and down all year, and I think that the person who gets hot starting this week and heading into that Tour Championship is going to do a lot of damage. Coming at number 4, a member at the club of Liberty National. He's played extremely well the back half of the year, although been up and down early on. Phil Mickelson. I just think that if there's a tournament that he can win, it's a home course for him. He plays a lot of golf there. He sneaks over there at the course of the summer 5-6 times a year. One of the members there plays a lot of golf with Mark Wahlberg. So they do a lot to play a lot of rounds there at Liberty National. And I think, having the opportunity to win the PGA in May and then, have a couple matches here, during the interim, heading into the FedEx Cup Players, he's one of those guys that you can look out. I wouldn't say necessarily he's going to be, long-term, because I don't see Phil at 51 years of age hanging in there for, 3 weeks making a run, just, based on where he is age-wise and stamina and the pressure that goes on with the FedEx Cup playoffs. But I think if you're looking for a guy that does something 1 week, this could be his week to do that and then settle in from there. Number 3, Justin Thomas. He's had an up and down run in 2020. He's one of those guys that have played well for 3 out of the 4 rounds. Just can't seem to get that monkey wrench off his back for the 4th round to tie it all together. He's one of those guys that plays well and can get hot in stretches. And I think former FedEx Cup champion, you do bring a lot of experience to the table, and you give yourself plenty of opportunities. You know what's expected and the run that's going to be made over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Justin Thomas is number 3. Number 2 is our 2018 champion, Bryson D Chambeau. Solid iron player. The biggest question for him, and has been the back half of the year, is his driver, finding the ability to find fairways. He putts it well, he chips it well enough, he hits plenty of distance off the tee, but he has to find fairways. And I think the generous fairways at Liberty National, really tend to bode well for both him and Phil Mickelson, guys that have the tendency of spraying the ball off the tee. And Bryson certainly displayed that the past second half of the year, and Mickelson throughout his entire career. If he could have found more fairways, I think he'd have won probably twice as many tournaments. But being that the fairways are bowl-shaped and generous at Liberty National, I think that's a true advantage to both of those players. And coming in at number 1 is a 2-time champion at Liberty National, former FedEx Cup champion, probably one of the best iron players when the chips are down, and that's Patrick Reed. Definitely a guy that's very streaky, can make a ton of birdies in a short period of time. And I think if he catches fire this week, I think he was one of those guys that could be in for a long run of good golf over the next 2 or 3 weeks as well. Patrick Reed, I've got him, this week. A lot of people have Rory McIlroy, and they have some of the bigger names like Dustin Johnson. I just think they've been struggling as of late, and to be able to put 4 good rounds together where you're going to have to get to that 15, 16 under par by the end of the week is just not there. And I think Patrick Reed's one of those guys that certainly can break from that pack and get it done.
So Brian's got Patrick Reed. I'm going to pick Brooks Koepka this week to win this weekend. Brian, what do you think about his chances?
I think he has the length. I just think he's still had his bell rung from the PGA Championship on not getting it done down at Kiowa. And for whatever reason, sort of like Justin Thomas has played 3 rounds good and just can't get that 4th round in the bag.
Ty, who are you picking this weekend?
I don't know why. I've just had a feeling about Jordan Spieth at one of these rounds. He's been disappointing me a lot, but I'm expecting him to have a round, and I feel like this is gonna be it. So I'm going with Jordan Spieth again.
Big moment. Oh yeah,
if Jordan Spieth plays well, I think he's going to have to hit a lot of greens because he certainly putts well. And again, both of those guys that we talked about earlier have played 3 rounds good, and the 4th round just can't get it done. But if there's a course out of the next 3 weeks, I think this one's certainly a course that he could play well. And I think he could draw off a lot of what he did in the 17 President's Cup as well.
I feel like we're on College Game Day because we have a celebrity pick. Brandon, who do you have this week picking the golf tournament?
If you're going ball striker, you got to go with the guy in first, Colin Morikawa. But I kind of like Scotty Scheffler a little bit too. He's a little under the radar guy that I like too. So I'm going Colin or Scotty.
I didn't know we could pick 2 people. Didn't know that.
You were given a sleeper. I got my sleeper and the guy who I think is going to win.
So we're gonna say that Brandon's gonna pick Colin Morikawa, and then we'll give him like half a point if Scotty Scheffler wins.
Perfect.
Brian, what do you think about those two guys in our first ever guest pick?
I like Morikawa, and I like Scotty Scheffler to be one of those guys that's an under-the-radar guy like a Corey Connors. I think you could have a guy that's a lesser-known guy. I think he could break through this week. Not necessarily win the FedEx Cup, but I think he could pull the rabbit out of the hat either this week or next week as well at the BMW.
So Brandon and Taylor took care of our tip of the week this week as they gave a message to the young golfers in the area. And we want to thank both of you for joining us today. It was a great golf segment to talk with the two champions of the greatest golfer tournament over the weekend, Brandon Pluchinski and Taylor Ross. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. And Brian, we'll talk to you again next week.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. What a great segment, Ty. What a awesome golf segment. I hope to have more things like that in the future.
Yeah, that was fantastic getting to be able to talk with both of them too, pick their brains a little bit, get it local and then go a little bit broader too, and just see kind of what their interests, their passions are in the game and what they aspire to do in the game as well. And of course, having Brian be there as kind of like a mediator and that great golf mind that kind of brings it all together. It was a really great segment to have Brian and those two on. Really lucky for us to have them all on too on Running Point.
Oh yeah, that was our first 5-person segment on Running Point. We're getting bigger and bigger as we go along. We're only 2 weeks in the show. We're already having 5 people on the show at once.
Yeah.
We'll break that record soon. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Once we get deeper into some of these seasons, I'm sure we'll break that record.
We definitely look to continue our coverage of high school golf, Mill Creek golf, and golf in the area as the season goes on. A lot of rain spoiling a lot of matches so far, but we'll continue our coverage, and we will continue this episode of Running Point after this quick break with more Division IV volleyball previews next on ysnlive.com. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Back in a bit.
Hi, everyone. This is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Every customer has a story, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We just had a wonderful segment with Brian Tolnar, Brandon Pluchinski, and Taylor Ross as we talked their big wins in the greatest golfer tournament over the weekend. And now we pivot back to our volleyball previews in Division 4. We are now squared away with Valley Christian. We're ready to preview them. Let's talk a little bit about the Eagles and what they're bringing to the table in 2021.
Yeah. So what the Eagles, we said 2-16 last year. What they are bringing back from last year, as we get this pulled up for them, some of the roster that they lost from last year, I should say, that is going to be you lost Elsie Anderson, which was one of the middle hitters, Madeline Bodner too, another one, Kaylee Brown, Nyla Maddie too is another one. Some of the younger players though that you're bringing back is Michaela Tensley, Deandra Tensley too. Abby Mitchell is another one, a good setter that they're going to be bringing back from last year. So I mean, there's some good young pieces I think within this roster that that Valley's going to be bringing back from years prior. And I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be fine, honestly, going into it. As some players, I think to look out for. Nadia Beck, though, is one that's going to be it. Lila Gilchrist, Selena Gray, Foyen Levy, Taylor Perkins, another one. Alexandria Pete, Elena Swoop, Exania Taylor. We already mentioned too, Deandra Tensley too. So there's a lot of I think players too that are here that are going to be pretty significant. I think the ones too. Kyle Turner, or is it going to be one of your senior? Elenia Swoop is another one, and then Nadia Beck are going to be your three seniors this year, and I think they're going to be I think the significant pieces that you're gonna need to build this Valley roster around, because it's still very young. A lot of juniors, a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the team too, but they have a program that they're building up quite well, I think, over there in Valley.
And the most important thing for the Eagles, they do return their setter. So you're not replacing someone that has to come in and get accustomed to the offense and know their hitters and resync relationships with all your hitters. You have a setter that is there that knows the business and has another year under her belt. So returning a setter is going to be big for a young team.
Yeah, and I mean, other ones too, you return the setters, but I mean, there's some other positions too that were lost too. Nika Long was another one, Ashley Lindsay. Olivia Kitchen too, a couple other players that seniored out too in 21. So I mean, and Kamara Gill, excuse me, also was another one. So I mean, they lost some, but this is a team that has a lot of people in the volleyball program. So I don't think they're going to struggle that much replacing it, because they're so deep. I think with their volleyball roster, it's crazy how deep they are, and they've built it up really well. And I think this is a roster that for years to come they're going to be fine, because they have just a lot of players that want to come through the program. Like
everyone else in the EOAC, they have to deal with a tough conference. Let's talk about Valley Christian's schedule and what teams kind of lay in front of them.
Tuesday, it's a home game, the August 24th versus Lutonia. They go Thursday versus Southern Local. That's also a home game on the 26th. And then we go right into as we get into the regular season schedule. The 31st is their next game, I believe, because I thought they had one. Yeah, so yeah, I thought they had another one scheduled. The 31st, after the Southern Local game on the 26th, that's home. They go away to Wellsville on the 31st. They're home starting in September the 2nd versus United. Away versus Waterloo the 4th. Home versus East Palestine the 7th. Home versus Lisbon the 9th. Home versus Sebring the 11th. Then they are away versus Campbell the 13th. Away versus Columbiana the 14th, away versus Lutonia the 16th, away versus Lordstown the 18th, away versus Brookfield the 20th, away versus Southern Local the 21st, home versus Wellsville the 23rd, home versus Waterloo the 25th, home versus Campbell the 27th, away versus United the 28th, away versus East Palestine the 30th. Starting in October, they're away versus Lisbon the 5th, home versus Columbiana the 7th, and home versus Brookfield the 11th.
A couple of things that stuck out to me. One, I think the teams in the conference that are going to be really important for Valley Christian, if they want to take that next step as a program, like every other team we talk, playing the teams that are in the same boat as you or in the same, spot the conference as you. So I'm talking when they play the Lutonia, when they play Lisbon, when they play Sebring, what teams are going to separate themselves from that pack and take the next step as a program. So those three matchups in the league are the ones that I would circle.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you got to play well within the division if you want to make up ground to tournament time, and you want to win the conference. And it starts with beating those teams that finished around the same pack as you last year. And I think those are the teams you talk about. And you mentioned the Lisbons, the Litonias, and it starts with them. And you got to compete and do well against those teams, the teams that finished right around the same as you, to make that next step and take that next step for a program.
The other interesting thing about that schedule is there's a stretch in September, a lot of road games in a row. I couldn't remember exactly how many. It had to be at least six road games in a row in that September stretch.
You are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 games between the 13th and the 21st. You're playing 6 games in what, 8 days? That is
6 games in 8 days, all on the road. Going to be a very tough stretch for Valley Christian.
It's going to be a huge stretch too. I mean, and Valley Christian, I mean, that makes up pretty much their entire road schedule, as they have a lot of road games on the docket this season. But they do open up the first few at home with a lot of rest in between. But then that's going to get them ready for tournament time. If you want any sort of stretch that's going to get you ready, playing 6 games in 8 days, all on the road, a lot of traveling, you'll certainly be ready for the travel of tournament come tournament time.
And when we talk about, tournament time, unless Valley Christian gets the top 4 seed, they're going to be going to other teams' places for if they do it like last year, all the way into the district championship, will be on the host seed's floor. So they're going to have to be road warriors to make a run in the tournament.
Exactly. And I mean, it's exactly how it's going to have to be, but you're going to be battle tested and battle hardened by the time tournament comes. So you hope that stretch of road games, if you could come out and survive that stretch of road games against tough teams too. There's Columbiana's in there. There's Brookfields in there. So you're going to have to come out of that stretch of games. But if they can come out, say 3-3 out of a 6-game stretch in 8 days, all on the road, that's looking pretty for Valley Christian in the season.
And we have another team, by the way, in the MVAC grade tier. We talked about a lot of this league yesterday in Division 3, but another team outside of Brookfield that lives in Division 4, and that's Newton Falls. Let's talk a little bit about the Tigers and what they lose and what they bring back in 2021.
Yeah, Newton Falls was 16-7 overall last year, 7-4 within their conference. And looking at what they have coming back and what they lost from last year, you can't go away from Courtney Hankins, what she did. 415 kills on a 52.4% kill percentage.
Geez.
That is going to be one of those. I mean, just an absolutely special player, Anthony. That's going to be. I mean, absolutely hit percentage of 393 too. So, I mean, losing that is going to be hard on Newton Falls, and it's going to be you're going to need to replace that somehow.
You don't see that too often. An individual hitting percentage above. I mean, 300 is good. 300 is good. 390 is ridiculous, especially when you're swinging as much as you have to get. What did you say? Over 400 kills.
415 kills on a 52.4% kill percentage. She's getting a kill over half of the time. That's insane.
That's ungodly numbers against pretty good teams in Crestview and Brookfield and LeBray.
She also loses. They also lose her partner and Brianna Hudson that also senior out. 273 kills last year, 38.2% kill percentage as well. So, I mean, another huge loss there. But there was a lot of juniors on this team and a lot of juniors that are coming back. And I think one of the ones that are coming back that's going to be huge is Lexi Drake. 133 kills last year, 24% kill percentage. I think she's going to be huge going forward. They also had a sophomore, too, in Shelby Fowler, who had 110 kills on a 31.8% kill percentage, which is very good, too, as for her sophomore year. Look for her to improve on that going into her junior year. I mean, but the loss of Hankins too is going to be felt there because I mean, on top of that, on top of the impressive kills, the kill percentage, 92 solo blocks, 22 assisted blocks. That's 114 total blocks last season as well. So you're losing your blocks leader. You're going to need to make up for that in somewhere. But I will say too, Shelby Fowler, again, mentioned her too, previous attacking wise. 41 solo blocks last year, 17 assisted, 58 total as a sophomore. Maybe now that Hankins isn't there anymore, there's going to be room for Fowler to make up that ground too. So you might not miss too much in that department. And then, of course, the biggest, I think, thing that you're returning, and I think the hugest part is Olivia Valet coming back, 787 assists last year. Obviously, it helps too when you have Hankins and everyone killing there, but you still have Valet there as your top setter. 787 assists is still something special. Yeah, you may lose Hankins, but you still have pieces there, and having your top setter in that rotation is going to be huge, I think.
I think what's going to be so important for Newton Falls is whoever steps up in that top production spot, realize you don't have to be Hankins. You don't have to get 400 and plus kills and hit at a clip of 3.9. Like those are special once in a generation type numbers. So don't kill yourself trying to be that. Just give us production. We'll find balanced ways to make that up. We'll have good net defense. We'll pick up a lot of balls on the back row. I just don't want to. I don't want their new seniors or their juniors to have a lot of pressure trying to put up those kind of numbers, because those numbers are just not something that you see too often. So hopefully that their coaching staff can get it into their minds, their younger players, that you don't have to be that. You just have to produce and do your job.
And what I want to say too about Newton Falls and why I think they're going to be just fine volleyball wise. Yes, you lose Hankins, and that's going to be huge. You lose Hudson, and that's huge too. They lose 3 seniors, and these are 3 big productive seniors. But what they return in experience, we've been talking about this a lot, is greater than what they lost. So they have 5 juniors that are coming back as seniors, 2 sophomores coming back as juniors. So I mean, you talk about your seniors, you got Candace Stewart there. We talked about Lexi Drake. You have Emily Knight. You have Sage Elliott. You have Olivia Valet, that are all coming back as seniors, as well as Shelby Fowler, who had a very good sophomore year coming back as a junior, as well as Natalie Albert, who had a lot of playing time, or significant playing time too, in her sophomore year, coming back as a junior as well. So you have a very older team now over in Newton Falls. I believe you have now 5 seniors coming back. You have 2 significant juniors, and that's not even counting what they have in the sophomore and freshman ranks in Newton Falls, because we already saw what they had in Shelby Fowler, who came out of the sophomore ranks, and she was pretty good. So mix in a sophomore like that or 2 in a team like this, and they're going to be pretty darn good this year.
They're going to be at the heels of Crestview all season, trying to topple the dominant Rebels that have been firmly holding that league for a while. Talk about their schedule. What kind of teams lay in front of them and are going to be an obstacle to their success?
Yeah, looking at Newton Falls' schedule, it looks like they are opening up their season the 21st against Wyndham. That is a 12 p.m. scheduled game against the Bombers. And, of course, we'll be previewing Wyndham later on as well. Division 4, maybe today, maybe later on in the week. But after that, they go to Champion on the 24th. That is a home game. Excuse me. They don't go to Champion. They stay home for Champion. Pair of home games in Wyndham and Champion to start. Then they go away to La Brea the 26th, away to Ursuline the 28th, away to Harding the 30th, home versus Liberty the 31st. That big Crestview game is away the 2nd of September, starting their September schedule. The Garrettsville Garfield comes in the 7th. That is a home game for them. The 9th is away against Brookfield. 14th away versus Campbell. The 16th away versus Champion. The 20th home versus Jackson Moon. 21st home versus La Brea. 23rd away versus Liberty. 27th away versus Grand Valley. 28th, the big home game versus Crestview. 30th away versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 4th away versus Springfield. The 5th home versus Brookfield. 11th away versus Ravenna Southeast. The 12th home versus Campbell. And the 14th home versus Bristol.
There's some really good non-conference matchups there. I heard Jackson Milton Southeast. They closed the season against Bristol, who we know is a strong program out of Wyndham's conference in the NAC. Very, very tough non-conference schedule to go along with the MVAC schedule. They're going to have that 25th game at home against Crestview. If you're a Newton Falls fan, circle that, because it's the most important conference matchup of the year. If you want to topple Crestview, you got to be able to beat them, and you get them at home on the 25th.
couple of away games too against both Ursuline and Harding too early on in the season that are also non-conference. So I mean, I do like the non-conference schedule of Newton Falls. They really scheduled around, made sure they kind of visited every conference that they can on top of playing within their conference. So I do like the scheduling, and I like the competitive. They went competition heavy, I think, within each conference that they did go in.
And they kind of have to, because they're dealing with this monster. They want to be a team that can topple Crestview like everybody else in the MVAC. So maybe sharpening their schedule up a little bit to try to, sharpen their tools to get prepared for the Crestview matchups, and hopefully for the Tigers' sake, that can pay dividends for them and get them to compete with Crestview this year.
Again, the two Crestview matchups are a couple in September. The 2nd, they are away, September 2nd. That is a Thursday night game versus Crestview at Crestview. And then the 28th, they are home versus Crestview, a Tuesday night game that is going to be at Newton Falls.
Going to definitely keep a close eye on the Tigers all season. And those are the only two teams in the MVAC gray tier that reside in Division 4, but plenty of teams in the MVAC Scarlet tier that do reside in Division 4. Let's start with the team that finished at the top last year and the team that everyone's going to try to beat in Western Reserve, and the Blue Devils. Let's talk about what the Blue Devils are bringing back and what they're going to have to replace come 2021.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Western Reserve has been one of the powerhouse in volleyball for quite some time, and last year was no different.
By the way, can we just say this the biggest loss together, because I think everyone in their mother knows who the biggest loss of Western Reserve is.
Yeah.
It's Danny Volatich. I mean, you got to replace that. She's going to play
basketball, too, as well. So
she's going to play Division 1 in basketball, but I'm telling you, she could have played Division 1 in volleyball if that's where her heart was. So you lose a player like that, everyone, it's obviously going to be noticeable that they lost that, but a lot of returning young players for Western Reserve. So continue on. Some of the players to watch.
Yeah, 19-6 last year, 12-2 within their conference. Another successful season from Western Reserve overall. And of course, Vuletic is the biggest loss there as she seniored out. 336 kills, 48.7 kill percentage on a 43% hit percentage. That's going to be a tough replacement to replace. But like you said, this is a team that was very young, and some young players have stepped up as well. And I mean, Olivia Hughes is one of the big ones, I think, that stepped up as a freshman. 189 kills, 32.8% kill percentage. That's going to be huge going forward into her sophomore year. And there's another freshman there by the name of Lisa Eichert, too, that had 194 kills, 34.4% kill percentage. So you're returning a couple of freshmen that are going to now turn sophomores. You have them for 3 years,
right,
and the production they can do. This is a very, very good team set up for years to come, I think, in Western Reserve.
Everybody knows that Hughes name and how powerful it is. So no surprise there that Olivia Hughes is continuing that tradition. Had a great freshman season at the volleyball team and going to have a great sophomore season. Her and Lisa Eichert kind of go opposite. Hughes will be your outside hitter and Eichert will usually be your opposite. So on different sides of the floor, you can't guard both of them. You have to commit 2 blockers to one. And honestly, Lisa Eichert just gets a lot of one-on-one battles because of that. So that's why her numbers are going to be elevated. They're going to ask a lot of her this year. And we're going to have to see who they kind of put in the middle.
Yeah. Hannah Diaz is another one coming back for her senior year, 122 kills on a 30.9% kill percentage last year. She's going to be coming back for her senior year. She's going to be looking to be more of a leadership position, I think, for that team. And I think that's what they need. They need a couple of seniors still to hold that team down. Another thing big, I think, that's coming back for them this year, getting back Gianna Paris, too. 545 assists. She's coming back for her junior year. Getting her back as one of your setters is going to be huge, as well as getting Grace Baird, too. Another one, so that you could use that 6-2 if you want as well and use 2 setters. And you get them both back, both coming back, one coming back for their junior year, or one coming back for junior, one coming back for senior year, I believe.
Hannah Diaz was the, I don't want to say secondary middle blocker for Western Reserve, but when Danny Volatich was rotating into the back row, Diaz would be rotating into the front row as their second middle blocker. She's going to step up into their starting middle blocker. Going to have a lot more on her shoulders to block a lot more than she did last year. I mean, she had I think somewhere around the 40, 45, 50 blocks total last year, probably.
Yeah.
You love to see that number come up to 60, 70. And then getting your setter back as well, going to be huge because like I said, you have two hitters on opposite sides that are both 180 plus kills in Eichert and Hughes. So you got to mix the ball around a little bit, and Gianna Paris is going to be really good at that. Gianna Paris is going to be really good at setting the ball. You know what I'm saying? Sacre bleu.
And I do think too Diaz is going to be good for the blocks, and I think you will see her get around the 50-60 range. 35 solo blocks last year, which was pretty significant when you consider that Danielle Vuletic had 116 solo blocks and 128 total with 12 assists added in there. So 116 solo blocks are going to be dispersed now amongst the rest of the team. So you're going to see some players get those numbers up a little bit. Maybe some players that had 6-7 blocks, maybe now they have 15-16 because you're going to have to disperse that production, because obviously there's not a player that's on this team, I don't think, that's 6'1" and has the stature of Vuletic. So you just break it up into a team, and that's how teams are, and that's how Western Reserve has been. And then they build up these special players, and then the special players do their thing, and then the team does the rest. And it's why this program has been successful for us.
Another thing to watch out for: Gianna Paris is a very aggressive setter. She's going to be able to dump over on second touches a lot, and she's someone you have to watch out for when she rotates in the front row. So let's look at Western Reserve's schedule and what are the teams that are sitting in front of them this year, trying to stop them from having just as much success as they did in 2020.
I mean, as usual, the Blue Devils aren't shying away from competition. They open up the season the 23rd versus Heartland Christian, 24th they're home versus McDonald, 26th home versus Jackson Milton, 30th home versus Southeast, 31st away versus Sebring. Starting in September, the 2nd they're away versus Mineral Ridge, 7th away versus Lowville. The 8th, they're away versus Heartland Christian. 9th, home versus Springfield. 11th, away versus Streetsboro. 14th, away versus Waterloo. 16th, away versus McDonald. 20th, away versus Liberty. 21st, away versus Jackson Milton. 23rd, home versus Sebring. 27th is away versus Mooney. 28th, home versus Mineral Ridge. 30th, home versus Lowville. 4th, home versus Salem. 5th, away versus Springfield. 7th, home versus Waterloo. And 14th, home versus Wellsville.
Yeah, and that Wellsville game in the season, that's sticking out at me. That's going to be a heck of a volleyball match.
And it might mean in their respective conferences, that win or loss might mean them winning their respective conferences at the end of the season. So I think it could be a huge game for separate conference reasons, but a huge game nonetheless at the end of the season for both teams.
Yeah, and that, I believe that was the district championship matchup last year. I'll look and confirm that, but I believe the district championship last year was Wellsville Western Reserve, and Wellsville came up on top for that one. So you're gonna have to have some revenge on the Blue Devils' mind when they end the season at Wellsville.
Not to mention, too, coming up, too, with Heartland Christian, starting the season, Monday versus Heartland Christian is going to be, I think, a great starting game for the Blue Devils, too, against a very, I think, successful Heartland Christian program.
That could be the end of the season, by the way, Wellsville Western Reserve. That could just be a straight-up preview of the district championship game later on that year. If they wind up in the same district like they did last year, that could be a straight-up district championship preview, Wellsville versus Western Reserve.
I mean, nonetheless, going to be a great game, too, come the end of the season. As you know, both of these teams are going to be fighting for a top-seeded position in the playoffs.
Fun. I think that's our 8th game of the preview. That is half of our Division 4 teams. We will take a break from that, continue it tomorrow, because we got Scotty Mincher in the studio, and we're going to have a lot of fun with him for the last hour. In the last 10 minutes of the show, don't forget, Scotty gets to play Stump Ty. He'll get 10 minutes to ask as many trivia questions as possible to try to get Ty to be stumped. He's down, 6-0, Ty? I think it's 6-0.
I think it's 6-0. I'll have to keep the running scoreboard here, too.
So Scotty's got some work to do in the last 10 minutes of the show, but we'll have a fun hour with Scotty. That's coming up after this break next on ysnlive.com.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, Sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well-appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State 40 Silverpool or visit tristateford.net.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. And look who we got in the studio. Our favorite Celtic today. Boo, Boston. You can't park there, Scotty.
Hey, man. You can knock a lot, but I don't see how you know, I got Larry Legend on today, man. I think he's him and Bill Russell are the two passable Celtics jerseys for a sports fan to own.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that, Scotty. I'll let you off the hook for wearing a Celtics jersey. I would, Ty, what do you think? Should we let Scotty off the hook a little bit?
Yeah, I'll let him off the hook. If that's the precedent he's setting, as Larry Legend and Bill Russell are the two acceptable ones, then that's all right. I better not see no Paul Pierce jerseys on you then, Scotty.
Is this a preview? Are the Celtics a member of your trivia question?
They are not.
Okay, I was gonna say, is he giving Ty a little foreshadowing?
I have to start thinking about Celtics history, Scotty.
No, you will not today, but I have a good feeling about. I've had a good feeling these last couple weeks, but I have a really good feeling today. I'm gonna stump you at least once, Ty.
All right,
Let's see, Scotty. Let's see.
Before we get to that, Scotty, you came with a question for us, and a question for sports fans everywhere. Why don't you hit us with it?
Yeah, Ty, I know you said before the season, and obviously it's no crystal ball, so it's these things are tough to predict. But I remember, Ty, you said before the season you thought the Indians would make the playoffs, and for a good chunk of the year prior to the All-Star break, and even a little bit leading up to the break, the Indians were still, they were still at least within shouting distance, but now they're pretty much building and seeing what they have for next year. But my question was for you, Ty and Anthony, and for all sports fans out there. Do you like the fact that the Indians, don't totally stink, and even though they're below 500, that they're still competitive? As a fan, I guess where I'm getting at, as a fan, would you rather have a team that was a legit, that just totally stunk like the Pirates have for most of these years, or a team like the Indians this year that most people thought going into the season they'd be maybe slightly above average, or their floor would be they would be mediocre? What do you guys think about this? Would you rather have your team just totally stink so you wouldn't have to invest much time, or do you always want that shot as a fan, and even if they're not a juggernaut, would you like to see a team that's, at least respectable?
Just give me a shot is my biggest thing, is give me a shot. And you know what? And I would prefer what we've seen from this organization the last few years as far as how competitive we've been before and previous. I mean, we look at 2007 when they last won when they won the division, not the last time they won the division, but when they won the division before Francona. 2007, and then it was 2008 to 2012 was our really bad years too. And prior to 2007, we went through, I think, 2001 was the previous stretch we made the playoffs. And now since 2013, when we made the wild card game, we missed the playoffs in 2014 and 15, but we had a winning record in both seasons. 2016, we won the division. 2017, we won the division. And 2018, I don't think we won the division. We had 2018 we won the division. 2019 we lost the division, but we had 93 wins. But we've been consistently a winning team, and I'd rather be a winning team year in and year out, even if it means we're mediocre and around the middle of the pack. Because I still do believe in my heart of hearts that if injuries didn't happen to the Indians, and I understand that they happen to every team, and every team gets dealt a different deck each and every season. And, hindsight is 2020, and you don't want to play the what if game. But I will say that if the Indians didn't lose half of their starting pitching staff to injuries, I think they'd be sitting in a better position that rather than 10 games out in the loss column to Chicago out of the division. I think they would be much closer, and it'd be a much tighter race. Injuries are a part of the game, and injuries just struck us a little bit harder this season, and I think that's unfortunate. But I don't think it's cause for concern. It's going to be a down season at what I'm seeing it now, but I'm very optimistic for the future, and I'm very optimistic in the young pieces we're getting and the young pitchers we're continuing to develop in our system.
Look, if you're a sports fan and you call yourself a competitor and you're a quote diehard fan of any team, and you would say I'd rather them stink than I'd rather them be middle of the pack, or rather them have I would lose any respect in your competitive spirit that I had, because stinking sucks. Like, I'm a Royals fan. I think we're fourth. I don't know if we're last in the league or not. I haven't looked at the standings in forever, because who cares? It sucks to suck. I mean, it's one of the cliches nowadays. It sucks to suck. It does suck to suck. It's not fun. And if you would say that you would like being there, you would rather be in this situation where your team is just, you can't even watch them because they're going to pull something like blowing a 6-run lead in the 9th inning or something like that. I know I can't do it. I can't, I get it. It's heartbreaking to be close and lose, but it doesn't compare to the suckiness of Suckville that being in last place brings.
I think a better question for it would be, would you rather have a team that's competitive like this, but you have owners that don't want to invest into the team like the Indians, or the owners that don't want to invest in the team that can be competitive and it is right there to compete with the juggernauts? Or would you rather be a fan of those multi-million-dollar teams that get to make it pretty much every year, but I mean, you basically buy your way to the playoffs. I mean, it's
jab at the Yankees.
Yeah, pretty much a jab at the Yankees, but no, I mean, I guess the big question is, I mean, it sucks. It sucks to suck. Yeah, it does, but it also sucks in the situation of being competitive every year, but you don't have owners that really give a shit that you're even competitive and don't want to put the money into the team to help it stay competitive. And I mean that it does suck, but I mean, I will give all the credit to the team.
You went and got Miller and the free agency to boost that 2016 team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ty, don't you think Dolan gets a little bit of a bum rap though? I mean, we did get Edwin Encarnacion as well, right after we were coming off a World Series in 2016. So they've made some aggressive moves. And I even remember pre-Francona time when Dolan gave extensions to pitchers like Jake Westbrook, who was a vital part of the 2017, and Travis Hafner, who had like 3 monster MVP years and was, a big part of that 07 team. So are you on the band that you're one of those guys? Or are you in the club that you can't stand a guy like Paul Dolan? Like, you think he's really held them back, or do you give Dolan a pass?
Honestly, here's what I say. I understand that we are a small market team, and I understand we play small market baseball, and I understand that when our contracts are up, we're basically a farm system to the New Yorks, the Bostons, and the Dodgers, because we are not going to re-sign guys to multi-million-dollar contracts, and that's just the life you have to live as a Cleveland baseball fan. My problem, I guess, necessarily with the Dolans is just it's not that they haven't invested in the team in certain aspects before, because they have. I guess my biggest problem with them is it just seems like they could care less about being in Cleveland. They could care less about having the baseball team, and they could care less about the city in general. And I think it kind of goes to prove that with this whole deal too, making the city and the taxpayers front pay for Cleveland to stay there, and not even front loading any money themselves either to help keep that project there. And I know I understand too. It also doesn't help that the baseball too in Cleveland gets terrible attendance, because you need money too to help support the team. You need to attend the games. I know television ratings are up, but television doesn't always pay the bills. You need to get tickets and get people in seats to help pay the bills. But the thing that's always irked me about the Dolans is just the fact that it just seems like they could care less about the city of Cleveland, and they could care less about the organization itself. And I feel like they make the moves to be competitive when the iron is hot. And I mean, I guess the only example I really have, you talk about the 2007-2016 team. I don't know. I wish I had more consistency from the Dolans, and just more of them. I don't know, just waving the Cleveland flag a little bit, showing that they're proud to be owners a little bit more. And I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's always irked me with the Dolans, how they've always been like that.
Scotty, it's time to answer your own question, but I mean, you put it out. Now it's time to answer it.
To be quite honest with you, and I hope you guys, I don't lose, brownie points, fake, award with you guys. But I honestly feel like I'd rather have my team be really good and competing for championships, or just, be a total dumpster fire. Because you look at the Browns, and yeah, they had a lot of really bad years since 1999.
Really bad years.
Really bad years. But they had a couple years in there where they were mediocre. and things just didn't work out, didn't go well. They had a couple years where they had talented players, but they just couldn't put it all together. It took them to hit rock bottom and go 1-15 and 0-16. That kind of gave them the pieces, because they totally tore it down to try to build it back up. That gave them the cap space and the assets to build a legitimate contender that most people feel like they have now. And to use one of your teams as an example, Anthony, the Chiefs have been respectable for a lot of years, but they didn't become great until they were coming off a bad year, and they drafted 10th overall, and Pat Mahomes fell to them because nobody thought Pat Mahomes was going to be as good. So it kind of took them stinking.
Well, Scotty, we traded up for that 10th round pick. Remember that year we went to the playoffs. We won the AFC West.
But
so we weren't a bad team. But to your point, we were competitive for years under Alex Smith. Getting to the playoffs, but losing in the divisional round, losing in the AFC Championship, losing. And then we got Patrick Mahomes, and it's like 2 straight Super Bowls.
And I don't mean to cut you short, Anthony.
Oh, you're cutting me. I'm gonna.
That's something I have to work on. I have a bad habit of interrupting people. But
don't make me come over there.
Did you honestly think that in any of those years that Alex Smith was a guy that could lead you to a Super Bowl?
His last year, absolutely. I thought he was having a career year. Statistically, he was having a career year. He had Tyreek Hill in the for the deep game. I think he threw for over like 3,000 yards that year. Everyone was still saying he's not big game Alex Smith, but I remember in San Francisco he went to the NFC Championship, almost won that game. I felt like this was his year, and then here comes freaking Marcus Mariota catching his own deflected pass for a touchdown, and I knew it was over at that point.
Is that the year they had that huge lead?
No, that was the Colts, 2013. Andy Reid's first year, actually.
That was another one of their heartbreaks.
We've had Marcus Mariota catch his own deflected pass and run in for a touchdown.
You had the Steelers beat you on straight field goals.
And then we had freaking Alex Luck fumble the ball, pick it up, and then dive into the end zone for a touchdown. Like, how does that happen twice in 2 different years?
And
I'm so mad.
You lost to Chris Boswell on the Steelers. I remember that. That was bad. I was mad for you because I was rooting for the Chiefs that whole game, and I was like, "You're unbelievable."
I'll never forget that game when we got the 2-point conversion. I think it was to tie it, and then it was called back because of a hold. We went through a lot of heartbreak playoff years before we got Patrick Mahomes. I'll give us that.
But I guess the question is, would you rather have those heartbreak playoff years, or would you have rather just been in the bottom of the barrel, 4-12, and never make it?
Absolutely, the heartbreak years, because you get a chance. Like Ty said, like, give me a chance. In 2012 under Todd Haley, we sucked. 2-14, got Eric Fisher out of it in the next year's first round draft pick. No, I don't want to do. No, that was just embarrassing. Remember the year where the Chiefs didn't throw a single touchdown to a wide receiver? Remember that one?
I think I do remember that.
It's just embarrassing to even wear a Chiefs jersey in those kind of years. And I know I'm sitting here and all the Browns fans are going, "You had one bad year, shut up." But at the same time, sucking is sucking, and it sucks when you suck.
It does suck when you suck, but I don't know, guys. Like, I totally get your point. I do, and I want to win.
We have a phone call. Who do we have on the hotline? Sorry to cut you off, Scotty. Who's this?
This is Radar calling in from Louisville, as a matter of fact, and I see Scott Mincher's on the line as we speak.
Scotty, you are on the line.
My buddy Radar, how you doing today, buddy?
Well, Tony and Scotty, I gotta say I'm gonna make my my key upset high school pick of the week. I got to give a bold one for this week since it's week number 1 of high school football 2021. I'm gonna give my upsets special 2 of all things. Fitch upsetting Cheney this week.
Fitch getting the big win over Cheney.
You say Fitch over Cheney. That's your big pick, huh? Well, thanks for the call, buddy.
Calling from Lowville, I thought he was going to come in with the Rockets and be like, yeah, Lowville, Vinny Balone going to get the big win.
Well, he lives in Lowville. He's a Wildcat alum.
Oh, man.
Struthers
You didn't pick Struthers either.
Yeah, because I'm really going to say this on the high school week, football week number 1 a little bit, guys, a little bit. The big games, Mooney, Boardman, Canfield pulling tomorrow night, and then add on top of it, it's the big one, South Range and Springfield Local.
That's a big one for me. I'm a South Range alum, so we're gearing up for the Tigers week, and that's definitely one that I have very many fond memories of that rivalry growing up when they were in the same conference. So I'm excited for that one as well.
The old ICL days, if I remember.
Yep, ICL and the ITCL, and now MVAC and NE8 respectively for South Range and Springfield. So while we have you on the line, can we get you to answer this question that Scotty brought up? Would you rather have a fan team, your team that you're a fan of, be in the basement, no chance of winning, or be in that competitive realm, but they still don't win a championship?
I would take B. Be competitive, but a little bit, but come up just a little shy of a championship. Yep. And then another thing I got to add in a multiple choice is C. Really try as hard as you can. Hopefully bring home a state championship, because you look at Springfield the last 2 years, they came very, very close.
Last year, you could argue one play away for the Tigers. I mean, really, game of inches. And if that punt goes into the out of bounds, or they tackle a kid, in their own territory, Coldwater's own territory, Springfield might be walking away with a state championship.
That's very well said. And Scott Mincher, I cannot wait to talk to you a little bit more in detail as we get close to this weekend's week number 1.
All right, looking forward to discussing it more tomorrow, buddy. Thanks for the call, as always. And
all right.
I guess in closing on this, Anthony and Ty, this whole thing, this thing that I thought was, thought-provoking, interesting, I wanted to bring to the show today. I guess in closing on it, my point is the years the Browns, I knew they just flat out stunk and were a complete disaster. And the years they went 1-15 and 0-16, and I knew they didn't have a shot in hell to win just about any game, let alone a championship. For me, that still hurt a lot less than losing last year like they did in the divisional after not getting off the field on 3rd and 14 against your Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, Scotty, I get that. It hurt a lot less. But, if you're sitting here and telling me that you would rather be in the Brown situation, you would rather have a bad Brown season than last year's season, I'm going to call total BS.
I think a majority of the Browns fans would take 7-8 win seasons over the 4, the 5, the 2 win seasons.
0
in
years past.
You guys are right, and in most instances I would too, but because it was my first taste of the playoffs, I remember since I was 14 years old, the pain of that loss, because they were so close in that game, because of the circumstances of Mahomes being knocked out of the game, I felt like that was such an opportunity as a fan, and they just missed that opportunity. And now they got to go up against this juggernaut that is Kansas City the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, however long it's going to be. So that's what makes it really tough. Also, if I can, Anthony, to switch gears a second here, I saw this question on PTI, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. I saw it on there yesterday. It was announced that the Cubs and Reds are going to be the next Field of Dreams game. And I didn't get to hear if you guys watched the Field of Dreams game, but I did see that it was the highest rated baseball game in at least about, it was over a decade, at least about 15 or 16 years. And it had just about everything, plenty of fireworks, home runs, a walk-off, the introductions coming out of the corn, Kevin Costner. So would you guys rather MLB keep it Yankees and Sox, the teams that are referenced in the Field of Dreams movie? Would you rather see a rematch of the Yankees Sox, or are you guys glad that the MLB is gonna change it up with the Field of Dreams game?
I think you absolutely had to start off this initiative with Yankees, White Sox because of the movie and everything. I like to see him switch it up. Now, I would say it's probably wise to bring in, teams that are legitimately in the playoff run, because if you're having like this year, I haven't looked at the standings in so long. Are the Cubs and Reds even in it at this point? I'm gonna look right now.
The Cubs,
we already know, sold everything that they had.
Right. I mean, let's see.
Here to give, I guess, my 2 cents
The
on
Reds,
it.
the Reds are second in the Central.
Yeah,
And they're like 9.5 back though.
Yeah.
See where they're on the wild card.
So they're both pretty much. I mean, they're non-factor.
Cincinnati is a game and a half back of the second wild card spot.
Ty, you were saying?
I was saying I like the idea of switching the teams up as well, but I like the fact that you keep that first game. You say that first game ever played on that field was the White Sox and the Yankees, so that way you have that tie-in with the movie. But I like bringing in other teams because you bring in other fans from other areas. And I don't even know if I would go with the most competitive teams at the time because the capacity of that stadium's only 8,000.
That's what makes it fun. Like you're getting.
You could go with competitive teams, but it's still such a special stadium that it doesn't matter what two teams you put in there. It's special just to be a part of it and to be in that field just because of the tie-ins with the movie and everything. Only thing I want them to do, I want them to do it with other baseball movies and other areas and do it with other sports too.
Let's play in the Sandlot.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
That would be really
cool. Let's dive into this though. What are some other baseball movies? I mean, obviously the ones that you know are the ones that are telling the stories of professional teams like Angels in the Outfield and Major League and some of the others. What are some like venues in film that they could go to? You brought it up. I mean, what were you at? Did you have something in mind other than the Sandlot?
I mean, like the Sandlot was like one of the ones that I was thinking of right off the bat. Some other ones too. I mean, I'm trying to like think of like good ones for like other sports too. Like I'm trying to think like football, and I'm trying to think of basketball as well.
Well, basketball needs to play in the court from Hoosiers. I mean,
that's what I was going to say. Was the Hoosiers court for that? And then I was also thinking too, if football did, I mean, like they do the Hall of Fame game, but another game they could do that would be cool. And it might not even need to be NFL, but if colleges or if high schools did like a game, and I know they still have it, but that TC Williams High School from Remember the Titans.
Oh yeah.
If you did a game there, either, I don't know if you did a high school or if you did a college game or a pro, whatever, but if you did something on that field, that would be really cool. Like a college, I think would be more doable if you did that, but that would be really cool.
Did either of you watch the series Friday Night Lights, the TV series, not the movie?
I never seen the TV series. I only saw the movie.
I love the movie and the series.
Okay, so I'm not spoiling anything for those who haven't seen it, but there's a game in the Friday Night Lights in the first season, I believe, where because of one reason or another, they have to build their own football field. They have to build it from scratch. I think it would be really, really cool to say we're going to have this college football game, but we're not going to have it in the stadium. You have to build your own football field. And it's not logistical, so this is like fantasy. But that would still be kind of cool to say, hey, Texas A&M, you got to build your own field for this game. We're going to have an old-fashioned mud bowl. And get back to like the roots of football where they just played. Didn't matter what the stadium was like. Didn't matter. It's just a dimension of the football field. 11 players and a football. That's all it takes to play a football game.
I don't want to get too far off topic, Anthony, but I've always thought about that, like in college football, during the college football playoff, and then the NFL when it comes to the Super Bowl. I always thought, like, why is it always like it always seems that they're always playing in the warm weather climates? Like, why can't we have a snow bowl for the Super Bowl? I do remember one year they had it in New York, but that was risky. But I don't know. I just think it'd be funner even on the college level. Like, say Ohio State hosted a college football playoff game and it was inclement weather, like they were playing in.
The problem is
right? Go ahead, Ty.
I said the problem is for the Super Bowl is they want passing games and they want those ratings for the Super Bowl, and they don't want the running game if it's raining and snowing is the problem.
That didn't really work out in the Patriots Rams game, did it? What was it?
Yeah, exactly.
14-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Great offensive game, guys.
How would you
Way to go.
How would you guys feel about games like that? Like, would that turn you off? Do you think it would add an intriguing element to it?
Ty?
I don't know, honestly, Scotty. I mean, what was the original question again? Just repeat it for me.
The like games in a Super Bowl in adverse weather. Like, obviously, logistically, it's not going to happen. But as a fan,
would I like it to be something different? Yeah, I think it would be cool to be something different. Honestly, just to have something a different scene for the Super Bowl. Will I think it will happen? No. I think for Cleveland to get it, they need to do kind of what Ford Field in Detroit has done and get that dome stadium. They need a roof over the stadium for them to get those type of venues. I think in Cleveland, I do think they would bring a Super Bowl to Cleveland if Cleveland had a dome, just because of how close it is to Canton, and with it being the birthplace, the birth state of football. I think Cleveland is a very marketable city to put a Super Bowl or a significant Super Bowl in. But I definitely think you need a dome over the stadium to be able to do so.
And look, I'll say it. You know, I get that there are football and nostalgic people that want to see the old days where they just played in a mud bowl for the Super Bowl. When, let's be honest, they didn't really have much of a choice. There weren't domes back in the 1960s and 70s. But at the same time, I want to see the best two teams go and play and only be decided by who's the best team. I don't want like a snowstorm to affect the game. I want to see Kansas City and Tampa Bay, and whoever's the best team is the best team. Whoever's the best team is the best team, not deal with weather and you know what? We can have that in the playoffs. You have to go through the playoffs with weather. If Cleveland hosts and we're playing an AFC championship game in Cleveland, there's going to be snow in Cleveland probably. You already have to deal with it in the playoffs, so I don't see the reason of saying let's also deal with it in the Super Bowl.
Another one, though, this is the go off topic, though, but this is just something I thought about. You want to reference the films and the places. You ever watch A League of Their Own, Anthony?
Yeah.
That stadium, that league stadium in Indiana. If you did a softball game,
I think playing a college softball game in that, which is
awesome.
With how big the college softball is right now and how much ratings it gets.
That would be huge to do it there.
In that stadium.
And you could hype that up too. I mean, because I'm sure that you could bring the actresses in from A League of Their Own, because that movie was only made, I think, in the 90s as well. So that would be really cool too. And it's another one of those. It's only, I think, like a 4,000 or 5,000 capacity stadium already. So
big for softball.
Yeah, and you could decorate it up, make it say like the Rockford Peaches and everything again. That would be really cool, I think, if they did that too for softball.
I like that idea, Ty.
I think they should do that for college, the college team. I think it'd be cool.
We're gonna.
Speaking of,
we'll let Scotty take this
real quick. I know we probably got to get into a break, but I just wanted to. We've been talking about like games and facilities and big time games we'd like to see and where we like to see them at. But getting back to the Field of Dreams game and the thing and the announcement that the MLB is going to continue with this, I wanted to know from you guys if, let's just say hypothetically, both the Indians and the Royals, because I know, Anthony, you're a Royals fan, Ty, a big Tribe fan like me, although we're not going to be the Tribe after this year. But let's say hypothetically for next year, they're both playoff teams. Would you rather, if you only had one ticket, would you rather go to a playoff game that was before the World Series, or would you rather get to see the Indians and the Royals in the Field of Dreams game in Iowa?
Playoffs.
If you only had one.
Playoffs. That's an easy question. I don't know about you, Ty, but I mean, playoff baseball is just it's a different animal. If you have an experienced playoff game in baseball, which I haven't, it says you watch it on TV. The fans are different. Their crowds are different. It's a different animal when you're in the playoffs. So, playoff game. That's an easy question. What about you, Ty?
That's hard for me because I have been to playoff games in baseball and I've never been to the Field of Dreams
there
game.
You go.
So it's hard for me, Scotty, because I might do the Field of Dreams game, because if I could have one ticket, I think the Field of Dreams game would be special because I've seen Cleveland. I saw Cleveland versus Boston in 2016. I saw Cleveland versus New York in 2017. So I saw some pretty significant and special moments, Cleveland baseball playoff moments. So I'm pretty happy with what I've already experienced with that I would love to just see that Field of Dreams park. I think would be
me too. That's why I agree with you, Ty. Were you at the game in 2017 when Lindor hit the grand slam? Or
I was there for the comeback. I was there 2 games in 2017. I was there the first game when Bauer pitched. I was there for the grand slam. Lindor hit that, and then the year prior, I was there in the Boston game where Kipnis, Perez, and Lindor all hit a home run in that one inning, and the whole stadium erupted.
Yeah, great time.
See, I'm so jealous because I like an out-of-market team, so I've never been to a playoff game.
You do need to experience that though, because I've been to playoff basketball games and I've been to playoff baseball games, and both were very exciting. But baseball was a lot. There was a different feeling, and I'm a huge basketball fan too. Don't get me wrong, because I love basketball, but there was a special feeling about being in a playoff baseball game.
One step at a time. Anthony's still trying to get to a Chiefs game regular season, for crying out loud. Forget playoffs. Just get me to Arrowhead. I don't care if I don't care if it's a game against the last place team in the NFL. Give me to Arrowhead.
I don't care about being in Arrowhead Stadium. I just want some of that KC barbecue, baby. But it would be cool to see the Browns Chiefs this year at Arrowhead.
Scotty, if you go to one, you get the other. So if you go to Arrowhead, you're going to get barbecue. Don't worry about that.
All right.
Don't worry about that. They have it in the stadium. It's all good. We're going to take a quick break. On the other end, Scotty gets 10 minutes to close out the show, trying to stump Ty, as he does every week. We'll be right back on YSNLive.com. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town.
When Mother Nature starts flexing her muscles, make sure you're prepared for comfort. For over a decade, NDC Heating and Cooling has been sending their team of experienced, certified, and knowledgeable technicians to service the area. NDC services all makes and models and carries a wide selection of furnaces, air conditioners, and indoor air quality products. To schedule an appointment, call 330-457-2562. That's 330-457-2562. For all your residential and commercial heating and cooling needs in Columbiana or Mahoning counties, call NDC Heating and Cooling in New Waterford, Ohio, where our thermostat is always set on quality.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Welcome back to Running Point, the Wednesday edition on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown alongside Ty Bartell. And Scotty, it is your moment of truth this week. I'm going to start the clock at 2:43. You have until 2:53 to stump Ty. Your time begins now.
Okay, this is, I really got to come through here down 6-love. To use tennis as an example. My first question to you, Ty, the 73rd baseball All-Star game in 2002, there were 14 runs combined by the 2 teams. Which league won the game, the AL or the NL?
Long dramatic pause from Ty.
Because I'm trying to think about this. No one did. No one did win because it went 11 innings and it was a tie.
Oh, it's a trick question for Scotty.
Trick question. Tried to get you.
He tried to get me. I was thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute. Because I know at one point, I think the National League was up late. And I think the American League did get a run late, but I couldn't remember if they did or didn't. And I thought I was thinking about that. I almost said National League, Scotty. You almost had me. I had to think about it.
Scotty, you came close, but it is now 7-0.
Still
Try again.
nothing. Gotta try again. I just remember Torrey Hunter making a spectacular catch at the wall at that game. But moving forward, as you stuck another little dagger in my heart, I have to move forward. Ty, I want to know from you, what team before the college football playoff or the BCS era, this is before either one of those eras, what team won the last national title when it was just voted on and there was no BCS or no college football playoff? Who was the last team to win a college football national championship?
Ty's on the clock. Bum, bum, bum. I feel like that I'm going for the music for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, by the way, when the lights go down. But I don't know. Except Ty gets new lifelines because he's a robot.
So I only know, I think it was called the AP Championship before. If I was right, if that's what I'm thinking of is right, it was just the AP Championship. And
this is a tricky one.
It is a very tricky one because I gotta remember when the last time they used it. If
I think I got you stumped.
Wait, don't you dare get overconfident, Scotty, because Ty did this to you last week, when we were both sure you had him, and then all of a sudden he pulled out a rabbit from his hat. Don't.
So here's what I'm thinking, and I could be completely wrong. If it is the AP pool that I was thinking, they released it usually, I think, at the end of the season. And if that's the championship they went off of, I don't remember if there's another thing they went off of. But the AP championship was released at the end of the regular season up until 1968. And the last one to win in 1968 was Ohio State.
You are...
Scotty, did he get you?
You are incorrect, sir.
Oh, Scotty got...
You got one on me.
The last champion before the college football playoff or the BCS championships, the last champion, they were co-champs. It was in 1997. Michigan and Nebraska were co-champions.
Yeah, because Ty, what they did with the co-champs, what they do is there's the AP poll and the USA Today coaches poll, and if you won both of them, you were the champions. And then if you won one, another team won another, you were co-champions, which I always thought was stupid. Georgia Tech shares a championship in 1991 with Colorado because Colorado won the AP, but Georgia Tech won the USA Today coaches poll. But that's how they used to do it before the BCS. There'd just be two polls. You won them both, you were the champion. If you split, then
I think they used the Associated Press poll for a bit, just solely, and that was released at the end of the regular season. And that's what I was thinking of, because I think the last time they used the Associated Press poll and they released it at the end of the regular season was in 68. And in 1968, the Associated Press had Ohio State winning it.
So tie streak ends at 7. Scotty stumps him, but he's still down by 6. And
still
you
down
still
by-
got 4 minutes to go. Do you have one more in the can, Scotty?
Yeah, I do actually have one more in the can.
Can he get 2 out of 3 on the day?
What 2 pitchers for both the American League and the National League? What 2 pitchers in both leagues in Major League Baseball won 3 Cy Youngs? They each won 3 Cy Youngs in the 1970s decade. Who were they?
So you're saying what the pitchers that won it in the 70s is what you're asking? I'm just trying to understand what you're asking.
It's just 2 pitchers, not 3. It's 2 pitchers, but they
won 3.
They won 3 Cy Youngs for both the American and the National League because they.
So 2 pitchers total, not 4, or is there 2 pitchers in each league?
I think 2 leagues and 1 pitcher in each league
total,
won 3.
One in each league, one in the AL and one in the NL. And they both won 3 Cy Young Awards in the 70s.
So ones that won 3 Cy Young Awards in the 70s, one I know right off the bat is Jim Palmer with Baltimore won 3.
Is that one?
That is one. Who was the other one?
This one's hard because I'm thinking of who won it, because Tom Seaver, I think, but he won it, I thought, in how many times did he win it, though? He won it twice, I think. I think Tom Seaver won it twice in the NL. Steve Carlton might have won it 3 times, but I thought he won it once in the 80s. Unless you're counting 1980 as one. I think that's when he won one of them. I know Steve Carlton won 3. The only other one I could think of that won more than one in that time, other than Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver, Gaylord Perry won them, but I thought Gaylord Perry won one in Cleveland, and then he won one after in the NL when he went to the Padres. So I have to think the only other one I can think of that won 3 in a 10-year span was Steve Carlton.
Stumped you again, Ty. That is incorrect. You got it partially right with Tom Seaver, but the other one was Baltimore Orioles pitcher Jim Palmer.
I did say
Jim Palmer.
Oh,
I said Jim Palmer, and Tom Seaver won I think Tom Seaver won it in 73 and 75. Steve Carlton won it in 72, 77, and 80. I think Carlton had more in a 3-year stretch than Seaver did. Or in a 10-year stretch than Seaver did.
My apologies. Because I had the names in front of my computer, and I knew you said the one I got. That was bad on my part, but you got me there. I do have. Do we have time for one more quick?
No, you're done, and that's it.
Okay.
And judges,
I got you once today.
Judges are going to rule that one goes to Ty. Yeah. So Ty is up 8-1 after week 3.
I'm excited to hear this question you got next week, Scotty. You better save it. You better keep it in the docket.
Keep it in the holster, man.
You got me on one. You got me good with that college one. That was a good question.
I told you, Scotty, we got to get obscure with this kind of stuff. You came in with the last college team to win a championship before the BCS. It's impressive. All right, so that will wrap up our Wednesday edition of Running Point. We want to give a thank you to Brandon Pluchinski and Taylor Ross and Brian Tolnar for joining us today in the 1 o'clock hour. The golf segment was a very fun conversation. Want to remind everybody that we broke this news at the top of the show. Lutonia versus Sebring football on August 20th is canceled due to COVID regulations and situations going on there. So no game between Lutonia and Sebring on August 20th. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 3. We have Chris Mill, Cheney football head coach, joining us, along with Coach Armini from LeBray also joining us on the show. So it's going to be a fun-packed Running Point on Thursday. We'll also continue our Division IV volleyball preview. So make sure to come in for that. But until then, we're taking we decided it's a 21-hour break. I was completely off with 23 and a half. I was like we were a half an hour show. 21-hour break between now and tomorrow, 12 to 3. We'll see you. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Power Hour next from 3 to 4 on YSN.